Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Knowledge and Relationships M3 TV News, the stream that gives you the best news. As always, this is your boy M3, and I have a returning guest who's been with me through hell and back with churches. And so I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Stan the Man Joseph. Stan the Man, you can feel free to unmute your mic. You're muted again. There you go.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Stanley Joseph. I'm from the Bay Area, California.
All right, right. Thank you, Stan. And so tonight's topic is the fall of Christian churches for men. And so the reason why I titled this, right, because this is inspired by none other than Mr. Kevin Samuels. I think it was last Sunday or the Sunday before that. He was talking about black churches in specific, but my view was pretty much like church in general, period. But anyways, he was talking about church, and he was just saying like how like there's so much corruption in church to the point that men just don't want to go to church no more. And it's not like they hate church or or they don't like the Lord or anything like that. It's just that there's a lot of things that just turns people off for church. People coming in like, they start off like, try to be righteous, trying to do the right things. Think about it like the people that's from the streets. That's a hard thing. Like, when you live the street life and you're just trying like to turn your life around, but then yet you have people that will just give you all these religious stuff that will try to put you down, see all kinds of crazy stuff if you're not really following the program. Another thing we'll be talking about is just like a lot of things to cover up, be like the financial resources, because church is an organization. And so where they make their profit is whom they serve. And a lot of churches who they serve is predominantly mostly women, single moms, widows. Let's see, who else? What else can I make? Yeah, even single women without the kids. There's more single women in the church as opposed to to more single men. And so we'll cover that up in just a second. I'm trying to put out bear with me. I'm trying to pull out some of the notes real quick. But in the meantime, while I'm putting up these notes, let me go ahead and jump to the number one question. And Stan, if you feel free to answer this one.
Sure
Let me
thing.
see. And shout outs to First Lady Tammy for coming with the questions. Let's see. Question number 1 is, what are your thoughts about Kevin Samuels? What are your thoughts about what Kevin Samuels says about the black church? Sorry, about the black men in church. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. You were spot on about it. His
Mm-hmm.
focus on that podcast of his was more on like the single black men in church. I think it's going to be a bigger, more conversations because he did promise that it's a lot bigger than what it is because churches needs to target more men, not just single men but married men and everything else that goes on because it's not attractive for men. The modern church have forgotten men. I mean, it's just true. Um, my experience in church growing up, I just didn't like it and I didn't want it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to see myself as being the church guy as a kid.
Mm.
So, and you're 18, 19, you're in college, you're an adult. So I got like kind of like, man, I'm tired of all this fear of God, right? So I saw God more
Mm-hmm.
like Zeus. He's gonna strike me down with thunder and lightning. I just want to experience life. And that's what I did. And when I came back to church, I just like, I need a balance. I just need to get the spiritual part of my life because I was lacking in that part. And you go into it, and it's like,
Mm.
this is not going to work out. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say this for a lot of churches that you got to listen to people because I know there's going to be a lot of people come in and going to say that we're complaining or we're not really being understanding, but like when you're here to serve the people and when you're serving the people, you got to start listening to the people. So if you have a population that's not coming in, you got to find out why. That's it. There's no argument.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Stan. I know like one of the notes you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Single men are leaving like colleges and churches, and then you said modern church forgot about men. And so, do you mind if you kind of elaborate the part where the modern church tends to forget about? And I'm not trying to put it like just black men. I just want to say, well, I will say like all men in general, because you know I feel like even if I went to, because I know for us we went to like a multicultural church, so it's a
Yeah,
little.
but you know what? As a black man who had the experience of multicultural church,
Mm-hmm.
I still want to add on being black does stands out. The
Okay.
whole there was a point for me in church. I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
scriptures about slavery by a black
Mm-hmm.
man who's leading the church.
Mm-hmm.
I had to flip out on him because I'm like, why are you always giving me scriptures that's telling me to be a slave? I mean, like if you keep on hearing it over and over again, you just need to serve, you need to serve, you need to serve, and now you're pinpointing me to scriptures primarily like I just need to be a slave, and you keep on hearing it all the time. That was insultive. Number one. Number two, also as a black man in a multicultural church, let's just put the cat out the bag. Just because we say people of color and it's a mixed denominational church does not mean they're sensitive to black issues. They are not.
Yeah.
It's out of sight, out of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's very disrespectful when your congregation is really made of black people. A lot of churches are built on the backs of blacks.
Mm.
So
Wow.
you're not gonna, not you personally. I'm just saying, like anyone, he's not gonna bypass that part where yes, I'm a man, but I'm also a black man. I got treated very differently in church. So have you. There are things that was going on that I don't know if people saw it for themselves, but there was no difference between me, a
Mm-hmm.
black brother in Christ, than a black man that you see in Oakland that you think is going to rob you. Not
Oh
saying
yeah.
nobody else is going to rob you, but there was a little attitude that was there.
Yeah.
It was not like we fellowship afterwards. And I give it to the brothers that it was like that did fellowship with me after church in public. But let's be honest here, mixed congregation does not mean open, accepting, and loving. I love you in this moment. We're in this area at this
Just
moment.
just feeling, you know.
Yes, in this space. But
Mm-hmm.
after when we're done with this space for the hour that we are, we're back to who we are, and
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna speak on the point as a black man, because I don't want, because it's like it's not, because Kevin Samuel's point was like for black men, and it's like a lot of times we think that everybody is gonna speak for us, but unless we start speaking up for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
these conversations does not help us at all.
Mm. Okay. I like that. Um, yeah, one day I will share, but before I even share this, I want to like say hello to Kris, the blooming Ebony. Thank you for tuning in, Kris. And if you just came in, our topic for the discussion is called "The Fall of Christian Churches for Men," mainly predominantly like black men by Kevin Samuels. But yeah, we wanted to do a discussion based off his video. I know that's not the exact title, but that's how like I kind of looked at it when I first saw it. I was like, man, that is a big fall for men when it comes to trying to develop that fundamental relationship with God.
Yeah,
And then but you have all these components that is in the way that is like derailing um the passion, you know. And when I mean passion, I'm not talking about aggressive passion. I mean the passion where it's like what was your first love before anything else, you know. um I'll share one story real quick and then I'll read this comment. One story I will say is that I remember I this was an eye opener for me, Stan.
yeah,
um you know how like our church, right, kind of separates us, right, in a lot of different groups and categories based
yeah,
off your status, you know,
yeah.
your you know, marital status, relationship status, whatever type of status, living status. So let's say you had people that was living in the Berkeley side, and we're like the Oak side. I mean, well, you know, you're not from Oakland, but let's just say, you know, you were, right. So
Hmm.
they place us in a certain group. Now, when we try to congregate for once, it felt awkward. It felt like I didn't really belong in that social group because I wasn't from around the area where they grew up around. And so I remember I was forcing myself to try to build a relationship, and I'm not really too fond with building relationships with men. I don't really trust them like that. That's just
Yeah.
me. My relationships was always
Based on your experience, it's not feelings.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
to be sold on your
yeah.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so I made an effort to try. You know, I called, I text. Sometimes a lot of times I get no response. Or I'll get like
Yeah.
a little like or whatever, right? When I send up scriptures. And I remember we had a discussion, we was talking about this. And this one guy was like, you know, let's just be honest, right? Um, I know we all don't have nothing really in common, but our only common goal is why we even here, why we even associate with each other is because of God. Now I know his little thing was like, well, God could kind of connect people together even when we don't have anything in common. But to me, I'm like, that was kind of like a foul way to say it. And even so, what you're telling me is that even with God, you still don't really practice what you're preaching. Let me read this comment from Big Guy Journey. Big Guy Journey, thank you for tuning in to Knowledge and Relationships on YouTube. Um, let's see. He says the church is predominantly women, so many cater to women. Absolutely. Mainly because church growth movement teaches from a business growth standpoint. And you're absolutely correct on this one, which is why it does favor on a lot of single women because the goal is for them to get married and to, you know, kind of build that family foundation. But however, the reason why they cater to the women so much, right, in churches is because women, they emotionally give. You know, like the old saying, the little tithes and offerings, right, Stan? That you're supposed to give
Mhm.
10% of, like, your earnings, no matter if you have other bills that you're struggling with. You got to make sure you give it 10%. Because if you give it 10%, God's going to bless you no matter what. And so women, they hold strong and they hold dear to that. And without the assistance from the man that can largely kind of put things in a spiritual perspective without in the component of fear, then they're going to keep donating and donating and donating. And that's that, and they know that women are their moneymaker. There's a
Mm.
whole lot of stuff I want to touch about, but I'm going to get to question number two.
Wait,
Right?
wait. I want to go back to what you were saying about that guy who said that gods will connect us. I
Mm-hmm.
want to add to that, and it's
Yeah.
funny
Mm-hmm.
that we and I heard the same thing too. But it's ironic that we all can gather together for our once a week indoctrination Tuesday meetings. That's what I call indoctrination meeting. Um, and we were talking about sports. I'm like, well, that's a connection. Uh, so why don't we go to a sports bar? Well, I'm not invited to your house. Why don't you come to my house when we go and watch sports? I really believe, and again, that's what I was saying. Like, just because something is a mixed denominational church, mixed population, I don't accept the fact that people were honestly not racist or a little bit racist, um, and not open to people because they didn't look like them, or was a different type of brown skin of them, or a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So like, I seen it, and then, it's kind of lame because it's like a lot of these men were you were married and
Mm-hmm.
you got kids and they got kids. You got a lot of things in common. The only way for you to find commonality if you spend time together, and that's it. Like, if you don't spend any time, how can you say God connects us? That's like, well, guess what? And I'm going to prove this point wrong. I know we don't do Bible verses on this podcast, not yet. You know me, I'll study the Bible and bring stuff up.
You can
But
bring whatever you want to bring. You have a Bible verse. Just don't be all long
I,
reading like the whole entire book.
oh yeah, but you know me, I won't do no new King James and start talking in old English accent. But
Mhm.
but Jesus' 12 disciples were all different, right?
Yeah.
But Jesus didn't keep them separated. They all had different lifestyles. They all had different walks. The only reason they can get close and got a chance to know each other is because they spent time together. So it's pretty lame when you go into a church that somebody feel holy by saying something like this. It was like it was, 'cause we could see right through it, and it's lame. It's nothing spiritual about it. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna call it out.
No, no, you're absolutely right, Stan. And that's just what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Um, I'm gonna get to the number two question, and then we'll talk more about this, right?
sure thing.
Uh, Number two, if you were a member of a church, have you ever been a part of the singles ministry? What were your thoughts?
Woo!
Mm. Now, keep in
Lord,
mind, I did not read any of these questions. These questions was popped up to me, so I'm just letting you know. But that's a good one, Tammy. Thank you for those questions.
Lord. Okay.
Mm.
So I joined this church because of the singles ministry. It's kind of ironic how they were dropping off singles ministry. They were like, let me go back. I'm gonna go. So they
Mm-hmm.
had something called the professionals retreat or something, and it was tight. It was good. Never before I've seen like professional people getting, that they were Christians. This was unique, and they were singles and stuff like that. And it got me interested. And so I left an old church because the church I was in before really didn't have a singles ministry. Um, and it was like, okay, let me go to this church, and then
Right.
and it was good to meet other people who were Christians
Mm-hmm.
and who worked and they're single, and that was unique, and I give the church credit for that. The part that was harmful was that when the church felt like they couldn't control the singles ministry, They did things where they just tapered it off. They
So that
just
last part again.
they taper off the single ministry. So we had like that 3-day weekend. Then they drop it to like 1 day, and they drop it to non-existent because they couldn't control. I guess it was like other churches that was coming in. You know, like it was something that they can't control. They have to destroy it.
So let me ask you this though about that, right?
Yeah.
I remember that day too when that was advertised and you told me about that. And then I think the next time we had a conversation, you said they changed the length of the days. And so were they sponsoring it?
The one I got hooked on, or the one that hooked me in, I believe that was either 2012 or 2013. I believed, yes, it was sponsored because it was the same place in San Jose. And it wasn't, it was just only for professionals. And it was like cool. Then you had like a dinner, and then it was, you know, I had to come back like twice. Like I had to like leave and then come back because I wasn't a Christian yet, so I really couldn't spend the night. Right? I didn't know, you know, you have to leave and come back, and that's it. So I didn't know all that stuff was going on till later. But you know, like it was sponsored by the church, yes, but you had to give money. It wasn't like it was free. You had to invest yourself. Like you bought tickets, and then you go to the dinner, and then there's like this whole thing, right? Yeah. And then it just I saw it because like if they can't control something, they literally have to get rid of it or get rid of the person. There was this great brother, I'm not gonna say his name, but he was stationed, I believe, in San Jose or the South Bay. Good guy. There was a trip, and everybody, like the majority of the singles, went to Tahoe, right? Because they used to do it before in the past. So a group went to Tahoe. Yeah, I'm about to say control how. So like a group of people went to Tahoe, and mind you, everything is like copacetic. That we're all adults, we can manage and check each other, and I say that's a good thing too. Like we could check each other on sin and everything else, right? But because the group of singles went, the ministers who didn't know on Sunday, like where people were at, they're like, they're single, they're going out, they didn't like that. They're like, well, nobody didn't tell me. And I'm just like, I pointed out to the leader, like, dude, like you're on the email. Like, it was a massive email that went out. And it was including the leaders in there, right? Like, how did you miss this email? That this when people were leaving, get this money in. And you know, they went together on the road trip. I didn't go because I was in a car accident. And you know, I just had to stay home, so I didn't make it. But like the backlash after that, we didn't do any more trips like that anymore. Right? And then you'll see this brother, like he left and he went to LA, which he's doing really fine there because you know he's a connector and he does things and he's good at what he does. They couldn't get their ego out the way and just let other people take care of the singles because they weren't doing it.
So the thing is, they wasn't doing anything, but yet they didn't want anybody else to overstep their job.
What job? Like you don't take care of the singles. You're getting paid for quote unquote single ministry, but you don't do anything for the singles except for destroy what the singles have built for themselves.
You know,
That's what you do.
It's
You
really
go
sad
in and you destroy the singles ministry and you destroy the singles that's strong, who care about the other singles there, or who builds up the singles, and you go in and you destroy it, even though you're the one that's getting paid. You don't want to get a church check. You just want to sit down and play with little kids all day. You want to go play basketball with middle school students. You want to sit down. You don't want to talk to the marrieds who are also paying the bill. I mean, let's be honest here. When people want to bring in kids don't pay bills. kids not pay tithes. Kids live on allowance. The single ministry is paying bills and paying tithes, and so are the married people. So you got grown folks in there who are paying stuff. So you're not catering to that population. Oh, okay, guess what's going to happen? People are going to leave. And there's other examples. I'll give you another one. And mind you, like I came in as an adult, so I didn't come in as a teenager or I came in the 90s. So I came in this past decade, 2010 to 2020. That's my decade of going into this church. There was something that was called California Connection, which was the first one, was the bomb because we got a chance to meet other churches from Southern California. So we got the churches from San Diego and LA. They were coming up to Northern California. And it was like the weekend of the, I mean, we used to have that thing when they do the spring or summer kickoff for the big church stuff in Mountain View. But everything was done
Mount Fort, what's
South
it called?
Shore,
Shoreline.
Yeah. So like I want to backdrop people, like for every summer there's a kickoff, and the kickoff of the summer is this major event called Shoreline, and it's at the Shoreline, and it's really big, it's really good. There's like the families there, the singles are there, and it's all the churches in the Bay Area gathered together. I think like 3,000 to 5,000 people are there, and then afterwards, we hang out in our respective groups, and that's it, right? But that's on Sunday. However, Saturday and Friday, we did something on our own where we got the other churches was coming in, and it was so good. Like you got a chance to meet other singles and see what other single ministry was happening. And I take it they didn't like it because, you ready for this, guys? The singles ministry in Southern California, they read books outside the Bible when they read it together. Number one. Number two, Michael Willer. What's up, man? I know Michael Willer. I'll get to that question, Michael Willer. Number two, number two, the single ministry there, they all help each other to elevate. Like they're all about like saving their money, going to be entrepreneurs, and just straight up like helping each other out, just building each other up. Unlike our singles ministry, it's I won't say we're not trying to tear people down, but it's not really the same feeling we're getting from the LA and the San Diego chapters. They're really about it, and they're really pretty much grown, like buying houses, savings, what to do with their careers. They were really like doing things, and also what I was trying to do with the singles ministry too up here in the Bay Area was to get people away from the marrieds as the singles ministry. Because like, look, we're single, we should help each other out. Like you can't depend on somebody who's married. They have their own family, they got a wife, they got kids. Like, you can get them involved, but not all the time, right? When I got from LA, they pretty much self-governed. And it was like, wow, this is good. Now this is what our church did.
No problem.
Our church.
Go ahead, Stan.
Our church went ahead and killed that. Our church went ahead and stopped that. Made sure that didn't happen again. They didn't like the fact that people was having events every which way because they can't control it. Because people are doing things that make more sense. If you are in Dublin, California, and there's a group of you guys in Dublin, California, you guys can have your own kickoff in Dublin. If you are in Oakland, you can have it in Oakland. We don't all need to be driving up to Mountain View and driving every which way and breaking our cars down. Didn't like that part. Then they made it a secret where we're going to meet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like, and then after that, they just got rid of it. And they call when we went back to not Shoreline, but the end of summer. They just try to put it all in one thing. And they call it California Connection. But I'm like, there's no California Connection. I already know you. Call it Bay Area Connection. This ain't no California Connection. I've seen you before. I've seen you like not 52 times a year, 52 times
Mhm.
3 or 52 times 4. I seen you all the time, like 200 times, all the time. Like I really don't. This is not new to me seeing you. I need to meet other Christians.
Right.
But go ahead,
Yeah. Oh well. Before I begin, right? Big Journey asked, how long were they staying single though?
man. That I'm going to explain that to you. That's going to take a while. But let's get to other questions. But I'm going to write that down
Yeah.
because I'm going to tell you how like single is also orchestrated.
Yeah. And I want to, and also like I want to break more down on the control part, right? And hold on, I gotta give a shout out to E Black, my guy. How you doing, E Black? Welcome to the live stream. If you just came here, we're talking about the fall of Christian churches for men, and this conversation was inspired by Kevin Simmons' video when he was talking about the Black church. I want to just break down as far as the control factor, and this also kind of tends to stem from how church gains their what do you call it? Their monetary not stamina, the monetary steam. I'll just say monetary steam for now. Um, so it starts off right. Um, Oh, sorry, I'm late. I wanted to hear this. No, hey, you're good, man. You're just in the beginning of it, So no worries. So I know the main goal, right, is that church wants to raise up a lot of youthful people, and but the way how they could get things rolling, they have to go through the professionals first, right? Even though
Yeah,
professionals is also as known as the singles ministry, but however, they're people who single, but they have their own established careers. That's why I'm labeling it as the professionals, because if you're just single, you broke, you're not in this equation. So the professionals is the ones that, yeah, they're not in a relationships, but they're well advanced in their careers. And so the way is to get them to, go on dates with like, the opposite gender, where brothers go on dates with sisters, sisters go on dates with brothers, build that connection and establishment, and try to show like, oh, well, we can match, Christian dating as opposed to dating in the world. So brothers, right? So this is how they use this, right?
hmm
This is why women in church in the pastor's eyes are so important, right? To cater is because they'll use the women to fish out the men because they feel like the men are thirsty, and most men don't really have a lot of game. So they feel like, well, let me just get a good woman, a nice, good Christian woman, because that's what my mama told me. Find a good Christian woman that you could see in the church, and they go in there to church to scout out the women because they
yeah,
feel like they have a higher chance. And so the persona is when you introduce Christian dating, that's exclusively only for the church that we go to, and within that church, the catch is you have to already be a Christian. So that's the incentive. Thirsty guys will be like, well, that's easy. I'll study the Bible. I'll get myself baptized, you know, and then I'll get to go on some dates. So we go on dates with the sisters, right? Um, the whole thing is that okay, you're supposed to be encouraged. Women will be able to show you and you'll show you a good time without any worldly expectations, and that sounds cool and dandy all. And so you build those relationships up, and then after a while you start dating, and then that leads to marriage because they promote marriage a lot. And hold on, before I even begin, right? We have 10 people in the chat, but hold on, we gotta get these likes up, man. Hold on, man. I know you're loving this or whatever, but I need you guys to get these likes up on YouTube. Come on, man. Like, help a brother out. So let me go ahead and post this up there. Get these likes up. We got like 9 people on YouTube right now. One on Twitch or whatever. Come on, help a guy out. Get the likes up, y'all. Thank you so much. I was quick. And so then they get married. Um, now you good. Let's see, you good, me black. Hey, liking this channel for free, man. So but so once they get married, you a professional person find another professional. Now you have a joint income. So now you're donating. Your wife is donating. The husband is donating. It's generating all kinds of income. You're getting kids. Kingdom. Little Kingdom kid seeds is spewing out or whatever. And now you having like a population of Kingdom folks, right?
Ooh.
And so where this goes around is right now it's time to invest into the campus folks. It's almost like you're circling your money around. I forget what they call it. It's like when you invest in something, the money rotates around. You know what it is there? How you call it? It's all good. But basically the money circulates and it goes. What do you say?
I say money laundering.
hey, however you call it, right? Spiritual money laundering or whatever, right? But the thing is that the money, right, then goes into the campus ministry where you reach out to the young college students. Because remember, the goal is to raise up new leaders. Before I even continue, right, I want to read Big Journey's comment. If a woman gives the pastor bishop more reverence than her husband, she is out of order. This is usually the case, and no man will stick around for that. Yes, that's right. We'll get to that part. We'll get into that part. And then Mike said, "Oi," or "Hey," right? But we're getting to that. In the meantime, everyone, definitely please get these likes up, y'all. Get these likes up. But so then the money goes to the campus ministry and is invested because now you have a lot of youthful young folks, and they're so driven, so vibrant. So now they're raising up to be young leaders. Because once you condition, it's almost like an older guy trying to raise up a young 18-year-old to marry to try to condition her. Some people actually have that mindset. That's the same way with the organization.
That's not what we call it, pimping.
Oh yes, if pimping is easy and legal and tax free, that's how it's gonna go down like that.
Straight up
pimping. Pimp the hell out of the young folks, right? They can bring more guests and more vibrant people, more attractive looking people. Yeah, we're gonna pimp the hell out of them.
Oh, well, let's talk about that real quick, right? I want people to understand the only persons that have access to the young people are the leaders. The young people and the professionals are not susceptible to the marrieds. So any married person who have the heart to teach a young person or a professional person is under the guise of a leader. So I just want to put it out there, and it's only to show like that controlling aspect of it. We say that word leadership, right? But it's not really leadership. What it is just straight up minionship. They're nothing but minions. Because a leader,
trained and professional minions, but
yeah, just straight up minions. You're not a leader. Because when they put me in that leadership stuff, I got out of it because I saw it for what it was. Or what it does he means, or what we mean, big guy journey. What do you mean? What I mean? On which point? Because I want to like.
I think maybe he's probably talking about the minions part, which you're explaining.
Okay. So the minions part. So when you're a real leader and you know that the persons that's going through a hard time is going through a hard time, you don't go ahead and you put more on them. You give them like a little bit more encouragement and you be more empathetic and help them to succeed. Minions part comes in I'll get back to that. Minions come in in the sense of, I tell you what I need you to go ahead and do regardless of what you know. You don't correct me. I tell you I need you to do this to this person. You need to continue adding pressure to that person. You need to find out. That's it. It's straight up. You're not a leader. When you do leadership, you straight up, and I have a problem with leadership. That term leadership is so marketable and everybody use it. And let's be honest here. All of us have jobs and we have these quote unquote leaders. That straight up really is just a minion for a director, or they're just somebody who just want to micromanage you into disparity.
Okay.
And there's not nobody really lifting you up for like getting to know you for who you are, so you can be the best person at your job or be the best person in the ministry. So that's what the minionship comes in, because it's not really leadership, and they don't really care about anybody else about themselves and their own little cliques.
Okay. Can you explain a little bit more about the access part? He said he didn't understand about. Oh, he said, yeah, I agree with that. So he understands about the means part, but he wanted to know about.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
the access part. I'll give you an example of the access part. The access part is there was a guy who's married in shape, everything else. He gathered the young professional guys after church, and he was just giving us quick tips on how to take care of ourselves and how like to take care of each other, right? One of the minions told leadership about it, came to the guy in front of us, told the guy about his own sin. I'm like, that was disrespectful, and that he has no right to talk to us because he's in sin. And I'm just like, okay. There's other examples of where, like, and how they sit us too. Like if we sit at certain we sit at certain places in church, and they'll try to correct, like there's like three front rows belongs to the singles ministry. It's very strategic how they sit everybody. The left row belongs to, like there's three columns. The left will sit down. That'll be the college in the youth ministry. Yes, basically controlling. Yeah, and it's like then the marriages sit in the middle or in the back, or they sit in the far right column.
Okay. Let me get to this other part, right? To continue where I left off. So, like I said, they raise up the young people to be leaders and to help run the church and live on with the church's legacy. Now, where does the mature people end up at? And most likely, when I mean mature people, I want to rephrase this to mature women, because unfortunately, you don't have a lot of mature men in the church. So,
Who wants to go in the church, like, and be judged, and to have some little kid go ahead and tell you who you are?
exactly.
A lot of these boys, and I'm gonna call them boys. I don't care you're married, young, you boys. They have not met the fists of a grown man. Grown man's strength is no joke. Grown man, he might be 5'6", 125 pounds. He hits you in your chest. You learn to be quiet, and you learn to listen, and you learn something called respect.
Oh wow! Dang, okay. Put some respect on that name, right?
Yep.
So now the sad thing is that like the older women, right? They end up just getting left behind because church doesn't really see value in them.
Except for the
They're
money.
not.
Except for the money.
A little bit.
Except for the money. They still got them tithing like nobody's business and working.
but if you're older, like much older, and there's not much you can really do, like they'll accept the money, but they'll push you to the side. They're not going to invest in you much longer, because they already look at you like, okay, well, you're coming close like to your deathbed.
Ooh.
We're trying to reach out to more younger folks. You're already at your prime, so just sit back, have a seat, and maybe be the mentor for the younger women, so hopefully they could get a man. So that's kind of like a role that they play, but they don't really get much recognition in return.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because that was a question to say, how long are you going to staying single? There is a profit in staying single.
It is okay.
There's a profit in staying single because if you're a single, mature woman, you have income because you're in the Bay Area and you're able to stay by yourself, no roommate. You're staying by yourself, so you do have income. So you'll do two things, right? You're able to keep the tithe. You're able to gather the other mature sisters, and bring in when they do the group activities, to bring in the special contributions and everything else. The part that's sad about that is like you have passed like so many years where you could have gotten married, but you've been single this long. And let's be truthful, especially for us men, we don't live forever, right? There's a reason why there's more women than there are men, right? So ladies, if you got a man, he don't need to be perfect, marry him. Did a prenup though, but marry him. Little side note, but marry him. If you got stuff, prenup, marry him. But but like you're brushed off, but you're still being used, and that's the part of you're still being used, and you're not being cared for. That's dangerous because that's not biblical at all. And it has to, and again, there was like another ministry they had, which was the women's ministry, and they taken that away.
Yeah.
Because guess what? If you don't, and I'm going to put it in the terms so we can understand, like the sex in the city.
Oh,
the sex in the city market.
Yeah, hold on, real quick, Stan. BK apologies. I sent that. Okay, so we're gonna have a guest up in there in the chat real quick. So hold on, okay. Stan.
Yeah.
BK apologies. How you doing?
Yeah, what's good? What's popping?
Nothing much, man.
What's up, man?
We're having another church topic called like the fall of Christian churches for men.
Yeah.
This was based off of Kevin Samuel's like live stream when he was talking about like the black church. How there's like scarce members for men. There's not like a lot of them out there now these days because you have pastors that's trying to be controlling. No one wants to share the power between the pastor and the men in the church. No one wants to allow the men to lead, and so it's just a lot of controversial topics to discuss. It's a big topic, but we're trying to narrow down as much as we can. So, but thank you for joining into the live stream.
Sure, my pleasure.
Hey, what's up, man?
Peace. What's going on?
Not much. Hey, I just want to bring up the point we're talking about mature sisters, and I want to bring out this. There's a market now. Back to the Kevin Samuels podcast, he did say any church that crack the code will be very successful in finding the ministry for men. They could crack the code, and it'll be like they will own it, and other churches will follow. I want to bring in the whole thing about mature sisters, and it's like, man, like if we forget something, older single women, they're very marketable. That resource is undeniably great. There is something that's called the sex in the city market. So when it comes to voting, I think it was like 2000, they acknowledged that mature single women made a big population as far when it comes to votes. And also when it comes to business and cruises and, there's a whole market for this. So for churches to ignore these women when they can go elsewhere, because if it was a minister that come in and target mature women, the whole churches will fall apart. Because you're ignoring this marketplace that's been like the backbone for a lot of churches. They've been faithful, they've been loyal, they've been giving, they've been grooming. You cannot ignore this market at all. It's dangerous.
Yeah. All right. Hold on. Before BK, before I ask you, I'm sorry, Stan. Before continue, I gotta read this number 3 question for BK, if you don't mind, answer this one. do you feel that single men and women should hold themselves accountable to their behavior inside and out of the church?
Absolutely. They're not just single men, the married men too. We all need
Yeah.
to hold each other accountable because in the letter that Paul writes to Timothy, he says, "Watch your life and doctrine closely, so you can save yourself and your hearers."
Mm-hmm.
You know, because part of the gospel message is your application, right? There needs to be a balance of orthodoxy and orthopraxy, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
having sound doctrine, but also applying said sound doctrine. And the problem you're having is men and women have not been applying sound doctrine,
Yep.
and we see that by their example. So as long as you don't apply it, it doesn't matter if you have the right doctrine. Who cares?
Mm.
Because no one's seeing it played out in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we have to hold each other accountable because we're all sinners. Even if you're right with God, you're a redeemed sinner. That's it. You're still a sinner though,
Yep.
and we need to help
Mm-hmm.
each other out so that we can watch our life and doctrine closely because we need to have that balance. Because if not, you're not connected to the Most High, and neither are the people around you in your life. So yes, the answer
Yeah.
is yes.
And you know what? And I'm glad that you answered that, BK, because there was like a little, well, along with the Kevin Samuels video, there was a guy who was complaining about the struggles from the church.
Hmm.
And then Kevin Samuels kind of caught on to him, and he was asking him a question like, well, um, you feel this way, and I'm paraphrasing, you feel this way, but what are you going to do about it?
Right.
And I could tell like the guy was very defensive because he wanted to continue to complain and blame, certain people in the ministry, but he didn't want to put no effort into it.
Right.
And it's a difference, right? See, it's a difference if uh if before leaving the church, if you gave your all
Hmm.
and you put your best foot forward,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
So
Hmm.
compared to the guy in the video and to you, Stan, right? I already know you
Yep.
put your best foot forward into the ministry. You've done like a lot of things. You call people out. You even call sisters out. Even one sister in particular out numerous
I call
times.
myself out, and I call
Yeah,
myself out.
because we supposed to practice accountability. But to the guy in the video, it seemed like he didn't want to accept accountability, nor did he wanted to actually put the action into it, which makes him a hypocrite. Like I said, it's okay to talk about these issues, but you gotta put in the work into that. And let's see, big guy Journey says he didn't want to own up to his part. Yes, and that was the problem with that. That Kevin, that even Cameron, sorry, they even Cameron, I keep calling Cameron, Kevin saw. So, you know, we had to kind of see like, okay, what can we do to contribute before complaining?
Right.
And if we done all these things and it still doesn't work, and they're still trying to sabotage in the good things that you're trying to do to help build a ministry up, then that's a clear sign that this ministry is not for you.
Well, that's the difference between a hired hand and an owner, right? The owner looks at his business quite differently than a hired hand,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
The hired hand doesn't have a lot invested in the company. He just wants to do his 40 hours and bounce. Doesn't really care. The
Mm-hmm.
owner cares a whole lot more, right? So the same premise is in the church. You got a lot of people who go to church, but they don't see themselves part of the church. They're not part of the body. They just show up, and they have a spectator's mentality. I'm here to be entertained. So preacher man, whoever's up there, you better preach entertaining. The song service better be lit. And if not, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna have issues. It's like, but you're just here. You're just a witness to the church. You're not a part of the church. And granted, there's a lot of blame to go around in the church. There's a lot that leadership has to change, 100%. But there's a lot of stuff you got to change too. It's not just the
Mm-hmm.
leadership, because again, we're all sinners. There's things in your character that you got to work on as well. So
Mm-hmm.
pointing fingers, you know, does but so much, work, help. It's like you got to do something too. So,
Well, where do we get to a common ground where we reach to a level of understanding of where we're spiritually at, and the conversation could be mature enough to where we can go to the people um, who are considered leaders, and for the leaders to hear our outcry.
Can I answer that one?
Sure, Stan.
So I think God answered that for us, right? You know how God answered that? COVID. COVID,
Mm.
COVID, you had to shut down churches, right? You had to fellowship, and you had to grow and build the relationship between each other and support each other. And what that showed for a lot of people is like, man, like there's something in Proverbs where like it's better to know your neighbor close by than a brother that's far away. And you're learning about the whole instance of communities. So now, when this COVID thing is done, going to church may have a different expectation. Luckily for me, I live in the area. It was good for me when I left Oakland and I moved to Vallejo or to Solano County. And I haven't seen this in a long time because I grew up in the South. To see churches being active and resources in the community, like providing food bank, having after school programs, doing voting polls. I mean, it was like very different from what I seen in the city where there's a mega church. It looks beautiful, it looks nice. But I'm coming out into an agricultural residential area where churches are really taking care of the families, really taking care of the kids, and just really taking care of the community. And it's light and day, right? Because you have some place that doesn't have that much money that's doing so much work, and a place that has all this money and demanding more money from you and not providing anything for the community. So after COVID, it might be different because you're gonna have to explain to yourself like, hey, I've been giving money to this organization, and you guys are supposed to be a resource, and you weren't there. And in our church in general, you don't even have buildings. We don't have buildings. We have hotels, and nobody been going to no hotel in like almost in 2 years. So all this money going to? Nor are you giving us. I don't think they given out the thing when they what they done with the money.
You talking about kind of like the statistics, right, or something
the
like
reports.
that. The reports.
Yeah, what they done with the report. Which I find out non-national churches don't have to do it, but that's, there's like, it's this has like opened up like for us to clean house. Now, for anybody that's a leader, and I'll say earlier before, I don't like that term leadership because are you really a leader? Are you married to the title and you like the power that brings you? Or do you really care about the people that's underneath you? Because if I'm looking what Jesse said to Moses, like, hey, you don't need to be getting your energy soaked up. You need to build up leadership so they can take care of themselves. If you're not doing this type of work, but you want to be treated like you're a God, and that's the real question here. Are you really leading church because you care about God, or do you want to be worshipped? Do you want to be God? And that's where leadership really we have to question our leaderships now. You got to question them. And it's okay to question them, guys. It's okay. They're just human beings. They're not God. They're not Jesus. They're not the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to like ask questions if you have any concerns, but I think what happens is that people kind of get into their head, whereas like you should not question me at all. Kind of like the mom and dad type of mindset, that old fashioned time mindset, like, boy, don't question me. Who are you? And I think that's kind of like where they kind of pump that little fear. And that's why a lot of people don't really ask questions. They feel stuff, but they don't really talk directly to them about that.
I mean, one time at church, one
wait,
lady's
hold
trying to.
wait, hold on for a minute, Stan.
Okay.
I do gotta read this question from Big Guy Jerry. He says, I don't think it's going to turn around. I believe small pockets, gatherings, of believers will be in the future.
But I think that's the turnaround.
That is the
That's
turnaround.
that's the big turnaround.
That is
That would be the big turnaround that's needed, because if your church has 5,000 people and we have like all this, we have like house churches. So that's what they've done is like, it's a big church, but then we divide into those small pockets. So if my small pocket do not care about my well-being, my wherewithal, I'm going to go to another pocket. And that's how the church that we used to attend, BK Apologist, had like lost its foothold in Oakland and had to move to another surrounding suburbs, and had lost its place in San Francisco is because they got a little too big for their britches and forgot the people who was supporting them, and they went into other small groups. And again, like if you don't care about the people that you're leading, then you're not a leader.
Right. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree.
Let's see. No longer church as usual. Was it how you pronounce this? Ecclesia.
Ecclesia.
Ecclesia. Okay.
I mean, ecclesia, that is the church. It's just the Korean Greek for it just means the people called out for a common purpose, right? The church is that's what it is. It's ecclesia. Church is not a churchy word. It's not a religious word. It was a word that was already being used within the Greco-Roman lexicon. The church just happened to use it. So yeah, in the first century, they met in small groups,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a huge house church movement in America right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. It's super dope because going back to our original issue with the black men not attending, I think that could be a great answer to that because when you have more small groups, you need more men to lead those small groups, and you have more men being empowered to lead those groups as opposed to having like one or two people on staff and having this huge congregation. So I feel like the house church helps when it comes to empowering black and brown men to lead through serving, because that's what true leadership is in the kingdom, right? You're supposed to serve others. So
Yeah.
Let me get to the number 4 question. Excuse me,
All
guys.
right.
The number 4 question, and this ties into the relationships, but let me read this. He Black says, I think men also don't want to abide by the order just as much as the women. Instant gratification of grace. Hmm.
What does that mean?
yeah, I understand the first part. I don't understand what you mean by instant gratification of grace. What is that? I don't know what that is.
E Black, you might be elaborate a little bit more, my guy. And then Big Guy says that in the church dismantling the lie of this being a white man's religion.
Oh, that's really important. Like that is so important, and I think that's one of the reasons
Mhm.
why we are losing a lot of black and brown men because we're living in the information age. We live a good chunk of our lives on the internet, and by being on the internet, you are nanoseconds away from a plethora of all sorts of information as well as misinformation, right? So we see the
Mhm.
memes, we see the YouTube videos, and we see a lot of people who are advocating this concept of, well, you should leave the church because it's the white man's religion. We didn't know about Jesus too, from the crack of the whip from the slave owner. We need to go back to our African heritage and stuff like that. And honestly, that's just misinformation. And I feel like those who are leading and those who are in the church need to be equipped to answer those questions and all questions when it comes to theology. Because for a lot of people, they see the memes, they see the YouTube videos, they go to their church, they go to their pastor or minister, they have
Mhm.
these questions, and the pastor turns around and says, "Oh, don't worry about that, just have faith." And
Mm, the
then what?
brush off.
Right. And then
Yeah.
what?
The brush off.
So you
Yeah,
so
I've been there before.
so then
Take two
then
scriptures
you
and go
think
pray.
and you get brushed off. So you assume, well, the pastor didn't have the answers. But it
Yep.
seems like this YouTube guru does. So guess
Yep.
what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna follow what this YouTube guru is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta give a shout out to my dad, Franklin Marion. How you doing, pops? Thank you for tuning in to Knowledge and Relationships. Dad, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. But thank you for tuning in. Appreciate that. Big Guy Jern says this is a wise brother. Yes, BK Apologist is a pretty wise brother. So
Oh,
is
well,
Stan the
thank you.
man as well.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm
Thank
I'm just I'm just a humble guy that's just trying to learn.
you.
That's
Man,
all.
you wise yourself, my brother. You wise yourself. Hey, can I
But
answer the question? There was like three things that came up. I want to answer it real quick.
which
The
one?
dismantling the lie of the white.
Oh, wait. Before I go that,
Mhm.
E Black to clarify, he was saying that men want instant gratification for going to church. Basically, the instant gratification probably was for the number 4 question, like, do you believe church is the right place to meet your potential mate? Why or why not? We'll get to number 4, but what question you wanted to answer,
The
Stan?
dismantling the lie of the white religion.
Let me see
But I was
here.
like, it was mentioned. It was mentioned.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
What I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed and what I don't like about church, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to African culture, it is put down and demonized.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it is, right? But we can easily go into the Greek and talk about Zeus, Aphrodite, Hercules, easily, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
we can talk about things that happen in Welsh culture and mythology, or or we could talk about Thor or whatever. We can talk about other cultures, but when it comes down to anything from Africa, it does get demonized. It says a lot because if Black people make a large percentage of church, when it comes to our culture, it's like we have to turn away from it instead of glorifying our own culture. Yeah, it becomes this thing of like, okay, in order for me to acknowledge who I am as a Black person, I really need to turn off this church stuff. I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes churches need to acknowledge that, apologize for it, and acknowledge a lot of the cultures that's not white, and be okay with
Right.
their own mythologies, their own things that they go through, how things happen for these people. Is something that we don't talk about.
Right.
I remember growing up, and I grew up in the South. Juneteenth, churches was involved. In the Bay Area, it's kind of like the church we went to. Again, a quite number of Black people there, not talked about. Black History Month, not talked about. Black Music Month, definitely not talked about. But we can talk about Chinese New Year. We can talk about even Ramadan
Right.
or Jewish holiday. But when it came to something that was dealing with us as a people, it was like we brushed underneath the table. And it doesn't help that your leader is a person of color. Your leader is also Black, looks like you,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and discards it.
I'm
So
right.
I think that that's a rise because that's not going to go anywhere. So churches need to acknowledge that, apologize, and really, like it's at this point, church, the Bible isn't white culture, but like if I'm going to a church and I'm looking up at the board, you have these, I forgot what they call those people, ethnic, unidentified ethnic people. They could be either they're mixed with white, mixed with Black, mixed with something.
Racially ambiguous.
Yes, right. And then I have to act clean cut, code for white. I have to do code switching. I am ignoring my culture. It becomes white culture when we as
Mm-hmm.
Christians need to go ahead and be Republicans, which is like, wait a minute, Republicans don't care about Black people that much. Probably now they probably will change it, but let's be honest here, it is becoming white culture to be a Christian. It's to ignore your own culture and your own race. And it's like, no, I can't, I'm not going to do that.
Well, no, I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
when you said a lot of great stuff there, I feel like we just got to know our history. We have to know that Africans were there from the very inception of the church and Pentecost. You had people from Cyrene and Libya there. We forget about the Ethiopian eunuch who really wasn't from Ethiopia
Mm-hmm.
because back then the word Ethiopia just means burnt face. So they wasn't talking about the country. He's
Yeah.
from Nubia, that eunuch. Because because in Acts it says that he was following the Candace. Candace in Nubia is Kandake. She's the queen mother. She's the equivalent of the pharaoh in Egypt, right? That's how important this dude was. So you have early attestation of an African, a real African, a Nubian, making Jesus Lord. And then you have King Azana from Aksum, who received the gospel from two servants from Syria. So he was the first Christian nation in Aksum in Ethiopia. Many of the church fathers are African, Athanasius, right? Tertullian, who was the first person to write theology in Latin, was an African. You know,
Yes.
going into West Africa, We have
Mhm.
primary evidence from Massa Musa himself stating that he had Christians in his empire way before the Portuguese even came to that part of the continent. And not only that, when you fast forward into the transatlantic slave trade, we have the slave narratives. We have from the slave's own mouth that they knew that whatever the slave master was teaching them was not the gospel. They knew it. They actually knew it because in the Congo, 1 out of every 6 African in the Congo already believed in Jesus before they even got here. Right?
And see,
So
that information
the slaves
needs to be
knew.
out there.
The
But
slaves
that
knew.
information should be out there, and that's like
Absolutely.
it
Absolutely.
has to be memes. It has to be out there because if we do not educate people, we cannot expect that from people. It's important that like we have to acknowledge that a lot of times churches do come in and it is become whitewash. You gotta acknowledge that
Absolutely.
it's like anti hip
Absolutely.
hop, anti rap, and anti R&B.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like we have to acknowledge, like, no, this is pretty much of our culture as well. It's just like we just really got to put it out there. Make it into memes. I'm glad that you talked about it. Make that into a channel so we could like know more of that history.
Well, it's funny you should say
Um,
that. Funny you should say that.
Yeah.
I have a channel that deals with all of that.
Send me
Um,
the link. I'll promote it. I'll push it on my pages. I'll push it in my groups on Facebook. The whole
will
thing,
do.
like we gotta like even with Mario's show, I've been promoting it, put on the groups, texting people like, hey, check it out. It's on live. That type of stuff. We need to build our community, and especially with the internet, there's always going to be crazy stuff out there. There's always going to be bad stuff about out there, but there's good stuff that we know. We should share it.
Absolutely. And then I want to.
Mhm.
That's another thing. I think Big Journey said something about the gods of Egypt. Can you put that back up?
Hold on for a second.
All right.
Before I do that, I need to read this question from my dad saying, no, a statement. He says, I was just sitting here, and this is the first chance that I really had to view you. I'm sure glad that I did this. This is very interesting. Let's see, what's your guess on how say, but oh, wait, I'm sorry, hold on, I got backwards. I had a lot to say that I don't agree with. Okay. Hold on for a second. And let me go ahead and then post up BK Apologist YouTube page. So go ahead and give this guy like a follow. So that's BK Apologist. Feel free
Thank
to
you.
follow him.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then I also want to open up the chat to First Lady Tammy. How you doing, Tammy?
Tammy,
Hey, what's up,
what's
Tammy?
up?
Tammy.
Hey, space.
Okay. BK, what was the
Yeah, he
question?
said something about Big Journey. Big Guy Journey said they don't want to focus on the gods of Egypt because that's not what made Israel. That's what
This
made
one?
Israel fall. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I disagree. I don't think the gods of Egypt did that to Israel. But more importantly, those ancient people of Kemet, they were one of the first Africans to receive the gospel.
Mm.
And we don't talk about that. Like these people heard the gospel and they accepted it, and they contextualize the gospel via their Africanness, right? Because they have their own version of the cross, which is not the Roman cross at all. It's called the crux ansata, and it looks somewhat similar to the ankh, because the ankh is just a symbol meaning life. That's all it means. So if you are a Kemetic person and you believe in life, and you read the scriptures and Jesus says, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life," and you believe that following Yahweh is gonna give you eternal life, what better way for that ancient commission to express himself as an African than to use his culture? They
Yep.
contextualize their Christianity. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's not going against scripture. The Coptic script is preserved mainly in the Ethiopian Coptic Church. It is the oldest living, functioning African script today. And that script is being preserved by Christians, by African Christians.
Okay.
So,
All right, I gotta acknowledge like the people that came in this chat. First I want to say shout outs to Luis Lopez Jr. What's up, bro? How you doing? Welcome to like the live stream. Yes, it's all about consistency. I know you are one of the guys that inspire me the most, like, with your Dash Show, like, network on IG. So feel free if you want to post up your IG so people can follow you, Luis. Which I do call him Louis though, outside of that. But yeah. Hold on, guys. I gotta get to this number 4 question. All these topics is good. The chat is lighting up. E Black says Tammy, you got a lot of background noise. Probably come from a computer. Okay. Good looking out, E Black. I wasn't even paying attention. But the number 4 question I had, right? And this is tied into relationships. I want you guys to answer this. Do you believe that church is the right place to meet your potential mate? Why or why not?
Well,
since I'm the single one, who's okay?
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
All right. I want to make a clarification. Earlier, we talked about how when people come to church, they get baptized. They get baptized in hopes of dating, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't know about dating in church at all. So when I got baptized, I just want to, become a Christian. That was it. I didn't know that we had a singles ministry in our church. And again, the control aspect of it, I just hung around a bunch of married men and a couple of single guys, but I didn't know there was like this big singles ministry in the Oakland part of the church or dating. I found out about dating in church and my dating expectations the night before I got baptized. I'll make that clarification, number 1. Number 2, after my experience of dating in church or dating inside the same church, I will never do that again, period. If I ever date a Christian woman, she cannot be part of the church I'm in. I don't need that backlash or people up in my business. It's not even, does not equivalent to intimacy or developing closeness. Where you got all these eyes looking at you and all this people trying to input in your life. It's too much stress. It is not good. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel natural. I think that's why a lot of people get on christianmingle.com or Plenty of Fish or whatever they need to get to, eHarmony, because it's a lot. It's a lot when you're trying to develop a closeness and get to know someone, or even just trying to get to know somebody, period. It's a lot to deal with. So no, I will never date in the same church. It's not going to happen. And I'm okay with it. And even like right now for me, I don't even date Christian women. I'm just open to dating women of all faith. I just need a break because the women I've met, and there's also, it's funny because like Kevin Samuels put out, there's like women of faith versus women of different faith because all women are becoming look the same. And that's what I'm noticing, like meeting women with other religious backgrounds was good for me because it's like, okay, so how you do this and why you do that? And there's like a good open communication and not so much of a challenge. They didn't use their belief system on me. It was more interesting, like we can talk, that we can just like talk and discover stuff. Now I'm not jumping board and like, I'm going to become a voodoo priest or, Israelite or anything like that. It's pretty much, it was just, I just need to take a break. And it's a good break for me. Okay. This is just for me, is what I needed. Because I've been dating for a good 6 years in Christian churches. I'm tired.
E-Black says, hope I'm not ahead, but how will you bring a woman that you're dating into your church?
Can I talk about that?
How will you bring a woman?
Can I talk about it? Don't bring her to your church. Those sisters gonna hate. She ain't gonna get baptized. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this in a professionals meeting because guess what? Like we had a Chris Brown wannabe lookalike, and he dated all of y'all at church, and he got somebody that was not from church, got her baptized, and married that. A lot of them did that. Guess what? He tried to get her baptized in our church. Them sisters were not having it. And let's be honest, because me and Mario, we talked about it. when they announced that he was getting married, there was not a lot of nobody was really clapping no hands.
So yeah,
They were not
I've
nice
been
to
a
the girl.
huge target of being cock blocked numerous times. You know.
Oh, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that part. But
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this now.
Mm-hmm.
If you find a Christian woman, do not bring her to your church.
Yeah.
It's you gotta like read Acts, test the spirits,
Yeah.
do all the stuff you need to do. Go to therapy, like counseling, figure things out. Have your own plan. Get married. I'll say one thing in that Kevin Samuels video. There was a woman who had to like her church was so controlling. She dated outside the church and she found somebody. She has to keep it a secret, and that's the crazy part. We're all adults, but that
Well,
controlling is so much. There's like it's so much emotional abuse. Um, she dated somebody, and then there is it's what she wants. She wants to get married, and we'll talk about that because like in our church, there was a lot of blocking. Please understand, in our church, you don't date who you love or who you want to love. You don't date for love. You date who you're supposed to serve.
yeah, mostly for quote unquote spiritual conveniency. I need to read this comment because Rosillo. Okay. How you doing, buddy? She says, if you date within your church and it doesn't work out, if the person is truly Christian, they will keep their mouth shut. And if she doesn't, then she never was. Okay, I'm gonna have to answer that part for you because it's a
Can I be
sad
next
thing, right?
after you? Because I lived through that one.
Here's
After
here's
you.
the thing, right?
Yeah.
No one ever keep their mouth shut. Not all, period. See, the thing is, uh, church was mostly designed for people to be an open book. So they encourage you to open up about the good, the bad, and the ugly, not realizing that, okay, as you open up about your personal life, your husband's business, your fiance's business, whoever else's business, it hurts the reputation of that man. Which that gets me to like the number four part because the thing is, a lot of times what happens is the wife has trouble with the husband. Everybody goes through marital problems, but instead of keeping it in house and resolving these issues and talking about it, what the women usually do, they go to the pastor and they say they talk to the pastor in hopes that the pastor will now take control of the situation in their marriage and then talk to
Yep.
the husband and then command the husband, right, to get us act right, treat her like a queen, princess, and all this other fine dandy stuff or whatever, in order to change the husband's mind or change the tune into their marriage. And then a lot of married couples kind of fall trapped into like you're bringing too many people into your marriage. And of course, opinion is opinion. But the thing is that when when you personally make it into law, and then it's like you're not really thinking on your own or thinking in a spiritual sense. Because remember, the God put us in charge to help lead our wives to begin with. But when you have a third party that's leading, or you have a woman that's leading, and I'm speaking in general about churches, then that's where Kevin Samuel says that it's going out of control. Louise says, I think it can work out either way. I know a friend who dated traditionally, then the couple broke up, only to reunite in the church. And yeah, two issues don't like anything could work out. It just depends on the situation. But the majority, as far as like modern churches and the way how things are structured now these days, it's like there's a lot of too much of control. There's a lot of people that's not learning how to lead, and
Mm.
so that's where you having the problem at. And each of them spiritually dated in the church and then produced growth. Okay. E Black, my guy, I'm gonna definitely shoot you like a link. And then what I'm gonna do afterwards, I will open up to the public so everybody else could like kind of chime in and say what they want to say. So give me about just a second. In the meantime, Actually, Stan, before I let you go, before I let you speak, I know First Lady Tammy's here. First Lady Tammy, did you have anything you want to say?
Tammy.
Okay, I think she stepped off for a bit. But
Okay.
yeah, what did she say? Oh,
There she is.
I'm on a phone call, so as soon as I'm done on the phone, I'll you know I got a lot to say. So,
oh,
don't
I already know. Like you got the ammunition, so yeah.
Bring some more questions.
Yeah, I don't. I got the questions on the list though.
Okay.
Matter of fact, speaking of the questions, let me go ahead and get to this one. Right.
Wait, can we go back to what Luis said about the dating?
Which one? This one.
About
This
breaking
one?
and being quiet.
This one, right?
No, back some more.
Let me see. Last time shared was his IG, and then the next one was this one. This one, right?
No, it's the one like
And then
no,
he
like
said,
no, it was the one about spiritual, like people won't know the business.
okay. Much love to you, my brother. Let me see. Where is it? Because the chat is going so fast, man. I don't think I will be able to find it.
It's a hot topic. It's a hot topic.
It is,
I'm
man.
paraphrase it. I'll paraphrase it because you just spoke on that about I believe he said something about like if it was like a true believer or a true Christian that you won't blab it out there, right? I remember when I broke up with my girlfriend, like people didn't know we broke up.
Oh, you must
People
be this
found out.
question from
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you date within the church, it doesn't work out. If the person's truly a Christian, they will keep their mouth shut. And if she doesn't, that she never was. I wouldn't say that. But I would say this. It was one, the only people that knew that we broke up were my close friends and also the people that were in my church group. And I kept it that. I didn't make an announcement, didn't do all this stuff. And it was like 2 months. People really didn't know that until 2 months. And it wasn't on me. The person I dated posted something on Facebook about starting over again, and she went on another date, right? I couldn't go on a date because I was like, I had to do all this spiritual cleaning and, you know, I got lust and sin and all this other stuff. That relationship was toxic. I had to end it. It was not healthy. It's okay. And long story short, I introduced her to the guy that she married to, so she was taken care of. Done, right? I did my part. But this also leads into about what somebody talked about, how long of staying single. Well, that guy I talked about earlier before, the Chris Brown lookalike or wannabe, when he got married, it left this deficit of like who's the next guy in line to be the heir apparent of attention, right? I'm a very quiet person. The minister stood up in front of 500 people and pointed out that since this person was getting married, that I'm single and I just broke up with my girlfriend and I can't even keep a date.
Yeah.
And he said that in front of 500 people and he told everybody to come holler at me so I can continue dating. That to me was insultive. And it's like, wow, like, dude, you didn't know what was going on here. You make it seem like I made a selfish decision and you just put my business out there. And everybody at church came after me like, oh, you're in sin, brother. You need to repent. You need to go back. And I'm just like, no, I made my decision. I'm a grown man. It's done. I'm never going back. I'm good. And that's the whole thing of like, I wouldn't say she wasn't a Christian, but each person's responsibility is responsible how they carry themselves after a breakup. And when that person tried to come back and she said that she was going to be a friend, I had to point out to her, like, she's not my friend because you already went ahead and you spread all these lies about me, like I was abusive and all this stuff, which was not true. And also the fact that I still took care of you and a couple of your friends who turned their back on me as well. So my character outshine whatever gossip you put out there. I don't trust you.
Right.
And I'm not going to speak ill about you. I just need to move out, move on, and be done.
You just know
and that's how you do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's something, I'm going to tell people this about Christian dating. Guess what? When you date in church, you're either going to date to marry or you date to break up. But either way, when you date, you get to know yourself. Done. This is not Disney. You don't go off, you meet somebody for the first time, there's love, there's birds chirping, little mouse up here making you breakfast. It's not happening,
Mhm.
brothers and sisters. It doesn't work
Mhm.
like that. You get to know each other, and you get to know what
Mhm.
you like, what you don't like, and you can move forward. So better off you do that while you're dating than to get married, have kids that you're not supposed to have, or kids you don't like, and then have a divorce. Just enjoy the dating process.
Yeah.
Stop thinking that dating means that you're going to find the right person. What you're going to do when you go into dating, you're going to find yourself, and you're going to see what you want to deal with in a dating atmosphere or in a relationship atmosphere. So enjoy dating, guys. Go out and date. Just go.
Yeah.
Done.
Now, just to clarify this question, Big Guy Journey, you said First Lady as in pastor's wife or your wife? Neither. First Lady Tammy is just First Lady Tammy. She's a part of the Knowledge and Relationship live stream, and she's pretty much what we call the first woman with many different names of Tammy that just puts in the work, the hard work and dedication. She sets the bar up for an accountability for other young women to come and old women too. But too much foolishness is going to be in these Christian circles. And then speaking of ammunition, will her or the church allow that firearm inside? Because still job to protect. Okay.
Was it my job to protect? I think when she's talking about me, like the ammunition and the firearm. Here's something about that, right? Because I'm in the singles ministry and I see how things go on in the single ministry. I could tell you guys stories. It's gonna be a book with other singles in the ministry and how things
Wait,
happen, right?
actually, hold on. Actually, Stan, not to cut you off real quick, but
Yeah,
I do got to get to First Lady Tammy real quick.
go ahead,
We'll
Tim.
come back to you guys. Yeah, First Lady Tammy.
Okay, let's see. So the only question I came in on was the one about finding your potential mate in the church.
Yeah, which was the number 4. If I can pull it up.
So here's the thing is, one thing that we have to know is that not everybody who is in church is really in church. Some people will portray that, they're very Christian and they, have these beliefs and these values, and that's not necessarily the case. And so you have to treat people in the church, like as far as dating, you have to treat them the same as you would somebody who's not, because a lot of times they do some of the things that the people that don't go to church do. I've never dated anybody in the church just because, I've just seen things in church just in general that I don't really agree with. So I don't date in the church. I think you can meet your potential mate anywhere. You could meet them in church, but you could also meet them outside of church. So it's not a guarantee that just because you date somebody who's in church, that's the person you're going to marry or even be in a relationship with. I do feel like there are some churches that are very controlling because they want you to date a certain kind of person and they feel like they have some type of authority on who you should and shouldn't interact with. But I feel that, you have to treat everybody as, as who they are, not necessarily what they portray themselves to be. And a lot of people that, like I said, a lot of people that go to church, they go to portray like that's their lifestyle, that's what they do, when in actuality, that's not even the case. So, because I've known a lot of people that, they're in the church, but they don't, it's more, it looks good on paper kind of thing. It looks good on paper, but that's about all that looks good about it. And I've been a member of a few different churches. I don't go to church now. I've just seen a little bit too much for me to go to church. I don't speak negatively about church because I feel like, it's helpful for some people. I personally, I'm not going because, like I said, I've just seen a little too much. And I feel that, some people have this idea that the only place to go to church is the actual building, but church has nothing to do with the building itself. And people have that misconception that, that the building is what it is. And it's just a building. You can have church anywhere. You don't have to be in the church building. You can have church anywhere.
Yep.
So, yeah. So I think, when it comes to dating, the singles ministry, I think is a joke, to be honest.
Yeah.
because a lot of people are in church, but they doing things that they know they ain't got no business doing. So, you know, and I mean, especially if there's a brother in the church that looks good, you know, all them girls are gonna be on him and doing all kinds of things that they know they ain't got no business doing. That if Jesus himself was standing, that they know damn well they would be saying and doing. Just saying. So, and there is a lot of jealousy in the church. There is a lot of that, which is sad. You know, you should be able to bring whoever you're dating or in a relationship with to the church without having to worry about that person being judged or you being judged. So, I mean, I just think church in general has lost whatever it was. It is not that anymore. And I feel like there's a lot of poison in there. There's a lot of poison in there. People don't really understand what they should be doing. They're doing what they want to be doing. And they push a lot of people away. They push a lot of people away because I feel like people in the church, a lot of people that are in the church are some of the most judgmental people that you will ever meet. So, but yeah, as far as meeting your potential mate, I mean, I feel like you can meet your mate anywhere. It doesn't have to be somebody in the church. And just because they go to church doesn't make them better than somebody who doesn't. So, I mean, I have a very good relationship with God. I mean, you know, I read my Bible. I hear him when he speaks to me. You know, I pray. I'm very spiritual. I would like to meet somebody who is in that mindset, but not necessarily that you go to church. So you don't have to go to church for you to catch my attention. If you have that mindset, that's what attracts me because there's so many different conversations we can have when it comes to, you know, spirituality and God and the Bible and all different kinds of things. I love having conversations where we're talking about the Bible and, you know, people that are in the Bible and the God and just everything. My ex-fiance, he used to be, he was an assistant pastor in the church that I used to go to. And I used to love hearing him talk about the Bible and talk about, you know, different stories in the Bible and different people. Like I used to just love to hear that because I think it's a beautiful thing. But like I said, you have to be very careful about choosing to date somebody in the church because not everybody is there. Not everybody who's there is really there. So not everybody comes with the right intentions. And most people nowadays are just very selfish and they do things because there's something in it for them, not because it's the right thing to do, but because they're going to get something out of it. So, so yeah, like I said, I don't necessarily think that, I mean, like I don't necessarily think you can't meet your potential mate. I think like you can meet them anywhere. You can meet them online. You can meet them in church. You can meet them outside of church. But going to church doesn't make you a better person. If your mindset is not where it should be and your intentions are not where they should be. So, you know, you have to really get to know somebody. That's the thing is like with dating, I feel like people have this idea that every person you date, you will be in a relationship with, and that's just not the case. I feel like, and I've said this before, that people get into relationships out of the fear of being single, as if to say that being single is the worst thing in the world. And being single gives you time to work on yourself. It gives you time to learn to love yourself. And because a lot of times people say, oh, you know, I'm looking for this person to fill this whatever inside of them. And what they don't understand is whatever you're looking for in somebody else, you have it within yourself. You just haven't figured that out yet. So once you figure that out, you will be content. But a lot of people are not content. And that's why I think it's funny when somebody says to me, oh, why are you single? As if that's the worst thing in the world. I mean, people give you these pity looks like, oh, you're single? Really? How long have you been single? You know, really, I mean, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad to be single. I mean, I'd rather be single than dealing with some of the stuff that some people deal with when they're in relationships. And that's the thing is that, you know, people get in relationships, like I said, not every relationship, but a lot of people get in relationships out of obligation, and people get in relationships out of the fear of being single because they're willing to deal with things they shouldn't deal with. They're willing to stay longer than they need to because they think about the other side of being single and they don't want to go through that. Not realizing that maybe you need to be single for a while to get your stuff together. So, and you know, there are couples that get together because they do truly care about each other, which is great. But you know, people need to be okay understanding that the purpose of dating is for you to get to know yourself and get to know other people. And it's okay to go on a date, enjoy socializing with that person. I mean, guy's paying, so I get me a free meal. So I get to eat for free and enjoy his company, and he gets to enjoy my company too. So I mean, and that's the thing is that
Lady Tammy, you doing foodie calls?
no, you.
You said
You doing a foodie call?
Like, I mean, if we're just like two cool people, we're just like getting to know each other. Like, I don't mind if, and that's the thing. Like, if the intention is not we're dating, like we're getting to know each other like that, like we both see potential of it going somewhere, then we'll meet up. Yeah, I could pay for. I don't mind paying for a meal, but I mean that first meal, yeah. I mean, hey, you could buy me a free meal, and that's the thing is that I don't have like I used to have this and that's the thing is like I speak from my own experience because I used to think like every time I would go on a date or I would in my mind I'm like, okay, this might be somebody that I might be in a relationship with. That used to be my mindset. And you have to change your mindset because not everybody you date or even get to know is somebody you'll be in a relationship with. Because the good thing about dating is you get to know the person to know if that's somebody you even want to be in a relationship with. And so you save yourself the trouble because once you have that commitment, you can't just leave whenever you want to. You can't just leave. There's things that are invested. So you can't just, say, oh, I'm out. It doesn't work like that. If you're just dating somebody, okay, it just ain't working out. Move on to the next. So that's the thing is that you get to learn more things about yourself. You get to learn what things that you really are looking for. You get to learn what things you're not looking for. But when you jump into things, you're not giving yourself enough time to realize that. So, I mean, but like I said, I mean, I just find it funny when people, even my mother, like that's why I don't even tell her if I'm talking to somebody, because she jumps to, oh my gosh, well, what's he like? Well, oh, you guys might, I'm like, no, Mom, no. I just talked to him on the phone. Like, it doesn't mean anything. It's a conversation. Conversation doesn't mean it's going to go anywhere. So, but like I said, I just think that the fear of being single and even being lonely. Like people have this fear like, oh my gosh, if I don't have this, I'm going to be lonely. If you feel like you're being lonely, it's because you feel like you're missing something. And whatever you think you're missing, you're not really missing. You already have what you need to be happy. You just haven't figured that out yet. So that's why some people have a hard time. I've gone to the movies by myself. And they're like, oh my God, you go to the movies by yourself? Yeah. I went to the movies by myself. I went out to eat by myself. I do my little self-care routine of spending time with me. But that's the thing. Some people are not there yet. They don't get it. And they jump into things before they need to. So, but yeah, like I said, meeting your potential mate can happen anywhere. I mean, I know people that have met their mate online. I know people that have met their mates in church. I know people that have not met their mate outside of church. So to say that church is where you can meet them, yes, but then no. So, and it can happen anywhere. And going to church doesn't make you a better person, especially if your mind is not right and your intentions are not right. So
you gotta get your mind right. I want to say salute and thank you, First Lady Tammy, because whoa, girl, you always have a lot to say. I love it.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Shout outs to Big Guy Journey for the awesome donation. Thank you so much for donating to the Cash App. Really appreciate you so much. And guys, girls, if you like knowledge in relationships, and you want to donate, feel free to. We got Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. We have all kind of stuff. So,
can I say one thing, M3, real quick?
Sure.
Real quick. I like the setup you got going on now. Just saying, I like this new little thing.
The little bubble setup.
Nice. I like this. This is nice. This is nice. I like it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. It took me a while because I was like, I saw people with their setups. I was like, hey, how they do that, right? And then I started playing around. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So once I learned that, I was like, I'm going to stick to that one for sure going
Yeah,
forward.
it's nice. So I want to give you a thumbs up for that because it looks
Oh,
nice. Yeah.
all right, thank you. I appreciate that for sure. Oh, also, you know, and if you guys don't have no money to donate, it's okay. All you gotta do is just subscribe. Subscriptions are free. You just subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you'll be able to pretty much tune into like whatever shows that we produce. We always produce like on Mondays, Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And Saturdays is usually we have our ladies' night live stream, all like at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. So, and then we also have my sister's keeper. She says, "Hey family, what's up? What's up? How you doing?" Big guy Jerry says, "You're welcome. Respect, much respect to you guys." Man, man, the chat is just like tearing it up right now, man. Like I'm overwhelmed, with joy and happiness. But speaking of joy and happiness, let's get to like E Black TV. Man, I'm loving this like this 4K. Like you just got that 4K look right now. Like, let me zoom in real quick, man. I'm loving this, man. Tell us, man, what camera are you using right now?
I've been using this
Oh yeah, that's like
I've been using Noxzema and like some Croc. I've been like really doing this deep cleanse, so it's been coming through lately.
Oh, okay. Well, look, if you want to get that 4K look and experience, use Noxzema. All right. Or get like a high quality camera like he has.
Yeah, man. I use it's all about the lens. That's all I'm gonna say. Get you a nice little low light a f1.4 lens, and you'll be good.
Okay, that's what's up. Queen Dom, she's in the building. What's up, Queen Dom? Salute. She says, yes, the blue is everything. And then Louis Lopez says, Thug Angel. Hey, that's what's up. We also have a guest on the stream, none other than Big Guy Journey. But E Black, I'm gonna let you speak first. How you doing? Hold on for just 1 second, Big Guy Journey. Let me see. Where's the questions I want to ask you? We're gonna go to the number 5 question. E Black, if you don't mind, let's see. What's your thoughts on the number 5 question? Do you feel that church today has lost its value from how important it was back in the day? Why or why not? And then after E Black, then I'm gonna get to Big Guy Journey. Oh, E Black, you're muted. I think he went deaf on us. Oh, something happened with the mic. Okay, no worries, E Black. I'll get to you. I'll get to Big Guy Journey real quick, and then I'll get to you later. Big Guy Journey, how you doing, bro?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I want to thank you again, man, for the awesome donation. Thank you for donating to the Knowledge Relationships live stream. So I just want to say salute to you, and I'm glad that you're here on this panel.
Oh, yeah, man. I always appreciate brothers who are pushing the conversations forward. You know what I mean? I think that it's definitely important. So I had to donate. I subscribe too, so I'll be checking you out more.
All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Just know we do mix up a topic, so this is not always like a church topic. So
Oh, yeah.
You know that, give you the hands up.
I know. I'm not super churchy, you know what I'm saying? I used to be a minister in the church, but I still go by the book, but I'm not a part of a church right now myself either, so you know.
Yeah, okay, for sure, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay, Big Guy. Let's see. Number 5. Do you feel that church today has lost its value from how important it was back in the day? Why or why not?
Absolutely, man. I mean, I think that the church has lost its respect. You know what I mean? I think that people don't take it serious. Nobody takes Christianity serious. Pretty much, the title Christian has a bad ring to it. You know what I mean? When people think about Christian, they don't think about. I mean, they don't think about what those old people used to think about. I think they said that the majority of America used to be like 75% Christianity, titled Christian, and I think that it's still pretty high, but it's went down a little bit lower. But when you look at, you know, the way the culture is, you know, the things that Kevin Samuels is saying, the thing that we were talking about how men are walking away because, you know, they've pushed this narrative that it's the white man's religion. I mean, all of that stuff is playing a major part. And I think it was a purposely, you know, feminism, all of these different, you know, people had came in and pushed different agendas. I don't know if you all read Alice Bailey 10-point plan, you know what I mean? And this was something that she did many, many years ago, like 60 years ago. And so I think that the destruction was very intentional. So yeah, I don't think people take it serious now. And that's why I said I believe that you know, for the future is going to be more in pockets. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be people, you know, gathering in homes and just people fellowshipping together, which like my man said earlier, that's the way that it started off anyway. That's the way that it's more supposed to be. So the hierarchical system that's in place is not going to, I don't think is ever going to turn around back to that anymore.
Right. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think right now at this point, when people come to church, and you guys can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think now people come for the entertainment purposes. Like they come just to have their mindsets to be entertained by something, you know, because church have so much of a bad rep that is really hard to like really take this stuff seriously. And when you want to give church a try to really take it seriously, it's like you're already coming in a defensive place, right? Where you see like the slightest thing that's wrong, and you're just like, hey, I'm out, you know, because I've been through this situation, I've been through that situation. When you try to compare Christian women, and Kevin Simmons did speak on this, when you try to compare Christian women from the world, the men just like, well, I might as well just go out, you know, get the strippers, you know, get the women out in the streets, because the women in church that be weaving and sandling up is no different from the ones that you see out there. So there's no one has really proven any different. And so I think that's where you kind of come off and then you're just like, well, heck, you know, I don't really see a differentiation. So I might as well, if I'm going to beat her, I might as well be entertained.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. Do you guys know who this YouTube creator? Her name is Pink Book Lessons or something like that. Do y'all know her?
No, I haven't heard of her.
Okay, well, she's pretty much like a red pill woman, and she did a video the other day addressing a lady called Your Favorite Pharmacist that went on the Lead Attorney show. And this woman was talking about how she'd been married between 3 to 10 times. And she was pretty much saying she was going to she was giving the women the game, like it's easy to do this to men and stuff like that. And so I was on a panel with her yesterday or the day before, and she was talking about like her being a Christian and all of these different things. And this is the thing, man. Like people just allow that stuff to go forward without like addressing it at all. And so all of these people are mad at Kevin Samuels for all of the stuff that he's saying. I don't care if, you know, how holy he is and none of that, but as long as he's actually speaking things that really needs to be said. And so I had to say something to her, and you know, she kind of was like, you know, the basic thing that everybody say, nobody's perfect and we all working and changing and stuff like that. But I mean, the fact that a woman is talking about her being married, you know, between 4 to 7 times, 4 to 10 times, and using the faith, you know, talking about she's standing on the foundation. Like I think that's one of the hugest problems that we have. You know, it's like these things are just able to go unsaid, go forward without being checked. And so, Yeah, I agree with you. I think majority of it is entertainment. I think that people go. My man's earlier said that it's like the owner. It's like the owner versus the worker. You know, he don't really have nothing. He doesn't have any vested interest in this, and so I think that's pretty much what we're seeing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and I agree with you for sure, wholeheartedly. Um, man, it's just so much that's going on right now, man. Um, all right, I gotta get to E Black. I think E Black, is your mic working?
Yeah, I had my mouse all of a sudden died. It literally cratered.
All
So I
right,
apologize. I'm not gonna be able to mute myself. So I'm
that's
here
all
with y'all.
good.
I appreciate you sending an invite though.
No, anytime, E Black, man. You're my guy, man. So I gotta bring you up on the show. Thank you for joining in, though. Before I get to the number 6 one, because I feel like the number 6 question probably will be more personally for Stan, so I will save that. But number 5, but we'll keep with number 5. What do you think about the church so far? Because I know I initially asked you first. How do you feel about a church that has a church lost its value from how important it was back in the day? Why or why not?
Well, I would say, you know, I'll be honest with you guys. I go to church, every Sunday. I've born a Christian. I've had off and on tribulations within the church. So, I'm a very much I wouldn't call myself a Jesus freak, but I understand the institution of a church. So, did it lose its value? Yeah, I would say in so much that the people are not willing to put in the effort to build up the church. The generations have to come through as men and say, more specifically, men and say, hey, this is our institution. It's no longer an old folks institution. It's just like our community. You can't say our community is trash and then not have men go back into the community and fix it. You have to stand up and make the efforts and do the hard work that it takes to build the institution that you're proud of. So yeah, I do
Right.
think I think it's lost its value only strictly because people are not putting the effort in, and then like I was saying earlier in regards to people want the instant gratification. Oh, I went to church 2 times this month. Oh, I went to church every week this month. I need to see results. I need something. I need my life to change. I need a new house. I need, this healthcare bill to go away. I need this. I need something from this institution. And I don't believe that people are valuing it as much as before because they're not getting it the way that our old folks used to go without the same ratio is what I'm thinking. We knew, I'd hate to say, they went for hope. We're going for results. They went on faith and we're just going on basically because we want to see the word in action. And I think that's why it's not being as valued because we're not seeing, we're like, oh, Jesus ain't came in 2020 years.
Yeah.
So we're not seeing the value as much as probably our older folks would say, hey, Jesus is coming, and we're valuing the institution, and then not only that, we're putting our own efforts into the institutions. We're not going to the Wednesday night prayer meetings. We're not going to the Thursday night church meetings. We're not going to the Tuesday night men's meeting. We're just going Sunday. We're not going to communion mass on afterwards. The football has taken over. Look, we looking at the pastor crooked on now. We looking at him like, hey, the Cowboys is on. We need to go. So, I think we're more or less looking for more instant gratification from the church, and it just doesn't work like that.
You know what's the funny part is that when it comes to like those Super Bowl Sundays, oh how I remember those. Our lessons would be like from like 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Because we gotta get to Super Bowl Sunday and fellowship like good old Christians on the Super Bowl.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Trust me, I remember the days. I remember especially when I was younger. Deion Sanders was playing for the San Francisco 49ers. And oh, that was the worst time for church for me.
Oh.
I mean, we're on the West Coast, and that 11 o'clock game, and if we had that early game, oh Lord, I'd be coming home like, did he do anything? So I mean, I think we're literally seeing the residuals of the instant gratification, and just the fact that, like I said, a lot of the men are. I believe personally, a lot of men are not stepping into the church to make the change and not do the hard work that it takes. You can't walk in 1, 2, 3 days or 4 Sundays or even a year and expect to be on deacon's list. To be on the deacon board. These are institutionalized that you got to put in hard work, and it doesn't take. You can't do it instantly.
Yeah.
You don't. What business have you ever worked for when you've gotten vice presidency just because you've gone once every week?
Yeah. It's the time and the work.
Yeah. And that's the part of the faith that we need to have that we're losing in terms of how we're structuring the church. So I do believe that. Without repeating it constantly, that we're just not putting in the work in terms of our Christianity faith and upholding the church values. I see it now with my wife and my daughter and how we're going in there. I'm lucky enough to have some men in our church. I don't know their dating style because I don't care. But it's one of those things where it's like I see the fact that we're not bringing our kids there anymore. The men who so proclaim to have crosses on them and tattoos and say they pray every day, they're not coming as much. Yeah. So you cannot expect the show to change without putting in work. So.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to just being accountable. Like, you want to see the change, you got to make the change happen for yourself. It starts off with you, and try to gather more people into it. Man, thank you for sharing, E Black. I think that's a good point. Like I said, that was something else like from earlier from what Cameron said was saying, like when he was, and I know I'll probably repeat myself, but when he was, correcting the guy who didn't want to accept the accountability, he wanted to complain, but he didn't want to put in the work to help. And church is the community. You got to build that foundation up first. You can't just sit there and then just wait for miracles to happen and you don't even put the work in. It's like faith without deeds is dead.
Yeah, and you got to understand the institution of church, even though we consider it the institution of church, it is an extension of our community. It is exactly what we put into it that we get out of it.
Yeah.
So it's like if you don't put nothing into church, but once or twice a year, then what results do you get back?
Exactly.
Like, I'm sorry. What result? I've like literally said I'm not the most churchiest dude on earth. I don't go to like every service, and I sometimes I leave out and I'll put my finger up, and me and my family will go Waffle House. I'm not the most churchiest of church going people, but I do understand that I have a role in it. When the church is passing out the collection plate, I put my money in. But when Sister Johnson is sick, I put my money into her pot too. These are the things that build the church. Us, men, people. You cannot.
Yeah.
You can't sit here and try to feed everybody off a half a cup that you've been sipping on. You got to keep filling your cup. I don't want to.
Exactly.
I'm done. I don't want you.
No, I appreciate you, E Black. I do have a number 6 question, y'all, and yeah. So here it comes. Number 6. Have you ever dated someone that you met in church? What came from that? Stan, I'm sorry, but the people have spoken and they want to know. before I even get to you, let me see. Let me ask BK apologist first, right? BK apologist.
Yo,
Have you ever dated someone? I'm sorry. Have you ever dated someone that you met in church? And what came from that? If so,
yep, I dated someone and I end up marrying that person, and we've been happily married for the last 20 years.
okay, that's
So,
what's up, bro.
yes, sir.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
25 years and strong.
20 years, not
Oh,
25, 20.
oh, okay. My bad. I'm at 5
Hopefully,
more
hopefully
years.
we get there. Hopefully we get there. But right now it's 20.
Well, yeah, and many more. 20 years though. Still,
Yes,
20
sir.
years is strong. That's good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Big guy journey. Have you ever met your significant other from church?
So like my experience, because I wasn't raised in church, you know, I came from the streets and came into the church, and
Mm-hmm.
for the first like, you know, the first couple years I was so zealous and so on fire. I was not thinking about women. I wasn't thinking about about business. I wasn't thinking about nothing but God and discipleship. And then when I came out of that phase and was looking for was ready for a wife, I really didn't have too many options in my church. I live in a small town, and so I hadn't in my own church, but I had from a different church, and it never went well, man. It really didn't go well, you know. I because I was so devout, you know what I mean. I was very judgmental about everything too, because I was just like, nah, you ain't doing this, you ain't doing that, you know what I'm saying. And so I kind of got a little bit um I, I wasn't looking at the fact that I was a leader, and I could lead and maybe teach a woman who had a level of submission.
Mm-hmm.
I was just ruling out women all the time. So I did from other churches, but not my own church, and but it never went well. So that's pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Follow-up question. Well, looking back at that, right? Do you feel like any regrets? Do you feel like because of your, you know, you had a judgmental attitude? Do you feel like, man, if I wasn't so critical about certain women from church, maybe I could have gave her a chance and she probably would have been a good person for me.
Nah. When I look back at it, I don't have any regrets, man.
Yeah.
A lot of it was like one particular woman. She had children, and it was a situation where like where I while I was judgmental, there was reasons. You know what I mean? Like she had a daughter who used to walk around with little clothes on and stuff like that, and I felt like that wasn't appropriate with me being in the house and stuff like that. And so there was a lot of different little things, or even though I was judgmental of the situation, I don't regret it because I still felt like I had reason to be, you know what I mean? And so nah, I can't say I can't say I regret it.
All right, that's what's up, man. You know, as long as you have no regrets, you good, bro. You good.
Right.
I want to read this comment from Luis Lopez. He says, "I dated in church. I dated women of all ages and backgrounds. Once I found, once I found the one I wanted to marry. I'm sorry. Once I found the one I wanted to marry, her and I held off having sex until marriage. Our first kiss was on our wedding day. You know, and definitely salutes to Luis like Lopez because um, the art of celibacy can be very challenging. You know, especially if you have not kissed a woman too. Like, you know, I mean, like the potential one that you're in love with and you want to marry. It takes a lot of guts, man. You know, and a lot of faith into that. So, big ups for that for sure. My sister's keeper says that's great that you can take accountability for your mindset. You know, she was saying it's like in reply to you, big guy. And Louise says now we have three girls and have been married for 16 years. That's what's up. 16 years is strong, man. And she says, wow. You know, hold on, man. I forgot. Man, I'm slacking my sound effects. Let me get the wild sound effects, you know. I've been slacking a little bit because, you know, we've been talking about this serious topic, man. So your brother's sleeping on the sound effects, but it's all good. Okay. Let me get back to the number 6 question, right? Stan, I know you have a lot to say. I'm gonna get to you. Let me see, E Black or Tammy. Which one has more to say? No, Tammy look like she got a whole lot to say. I'm gonna get to you, Tammy. E Black.
All right. Okay. Have I ever dated someone that you met in church? Now, because I grew up in the church, you know, I mean, goodness. I mean, how far are you going to go back? like, you know, holding hands after church service type of stuff. I mean, and then we can talk about, man, I used to be in the choir, and I used to be in the boys choir. So now we used to go to Marion, Oakland, Evergreen. We used to go to Daly City. I forgot that church name out in Daly City. We covered the whole Black Bay Area market. So, I mean, I'm not saying that this was, as a young man with raging hormones, we used to make a game of it. So, hey, we go to a different church. We used to try to talk to the girls. I'm talking younger ages, okay? I'm just bringing it up in terms of like, okay, can you meet somebody in church? Yes, because boys will be boys. So that's my point in saying that. But my first love I met in a church, and we dated for, oh goodness, we dated for 3 years, and it just went sour. So
You mean you say with your first love in the church?
Yes, first love. My first love, we met. I was 16. She was like 15. She went to Lowell. I went to Mission.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, we dated and we puppy loved for like a few years. So it worked out. You know, we used to go to church together and all that. And then after that, I kind of fell out of the church because my pastor was on 2020 stealing money, but we can get to that.
Oh man. Hey, I guess he needed more of his collection plate, you know?
Yeah, so he trust me, he was on 20 when I say he was on 2020, he was on 2020. we watching it and then going to church the next day. Anyway, so, you know, I fell out of church, but church has always been in and out of my life. I didn't meet my wife in church, but, you know, I kept her by my side anytime I needed to go. So,
yeah.
I mean, other than my first love, no. And then of course the juvenile years.
Right. Man, you got these women saying "yikes" and "oh my gosh," right?
You gotta get a sound effect for that one, my guy.
I know, man. I've been looking, man. I don't know how old should be doing it, but I've been looking, man. I can say it myself. Oh my god, whatever, right? But okay. First Lady Tammy, what about you?
Hold on, I'm looking for that sound effect for you. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it.
All right.
Hold on.
Oh my God!
All right, Tammy, you gotta send me that. If you can send that to me, send that to me to my Telegram so I can.
I'm gonna send it to you. No, you know, okay, so the question was, have I ever dated somebody I met in church, right?
Yeah, and what came from that?
So I did date somebody I met in church, but we didn't date while we were going to church. So when he was in church, he was actually married, and he was the assistant pastor. And like years later, like he was like on a dating site, and he like messaged me. And at first I was like, I don't know. But talking to him, like he'd been divorced for 3 years from the woman that he had been married to. They had been married for 19 years. And they were divorced for 3. And now this is, and we ended up getting engaged, actually. But he at one point said he wasn't happy. And he, like, our relationship ended when he said that, because he was like, said he wasn't happy. And I was very caught off guard, because I was making an effort to do things to make him feel like I was going out of my way to do things that were just not things I normally do, to make sure he had what he needed. So I was making sure that, because he wanted undivided attention at times, and me, I get sidetracked at times. So I will make it seem like I'm listening, but I'm actually, my mind is somewhere else. And it's not like I'm intentionally trying to ignore you. It's just I have too many things that I'm trying to do at the same time. So I was trying to make an effort to make sure he felt like he was being heard. And yeah, he just said that he called me one day and he was like, I'm not happy. And he was like, it's crazy because I still love you, but I'm not happy. So, I mean, I don't think he's a bad guy at all. You know, I believe every relationship is meant to teach you something about yourself. And I learned things about myself. Like I learned that I need to date somebody who accepts me as I am, because that's one thing that I do when I'm dating somebody. I accept you as you are. I don't have this expectation that you're going to change. I accept you as you are. But the problem comes is that it's not reciprocated. So the person doesn't accept me as I am. So, and I think I can't fully blame the other person, because with me, when I care about people, I very much make sure that they're getting what they need from me. So, and I get my satisfaction knowing that they're getting what they need from me. So whether it's my daughter, whether it's my friends, whether it's people I consider family, whether it's my students, I get my satisfaction knowing that. So in the space of me trying to make sure that I'm giving them what they need, I'm not really paying attention to whether or not I'm getting what I need. So that's the thing, is that I wasn't really taking the time to think, am I getting what I need from him? Because there was this incident that happened where we were doing obstacle course races together. It was the first one we actually did, and it was called the Rugged Maniac, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with obstacle course races, like the Spartan. They have the Spartan, they have the Tough Mudder, which I've never done that one. And then they had the Rugged Maniac. So I registered him and I to do this race together as something for us fun to do as a couple. Something fun for us to do as a couple.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we were going through these different obstacles. We got to the second to the last ones. And this obstacle, like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen like American Ninja Warrior, where they have like, it's called like an inverted wall, where you have to like run up and catch the top of it and pull yourself up. So he like did that like no problem. So the first time I tried it, I didn't quite get to the top, and then I kind of slid down, and I was really upset because I didn't make it. And he was up there, and he had his hand down so I could catch it. So the second time I tried it, I caught his hand, and he was trying to pull me up, but my feet would not catch on the wall.
Yeah.
And so him and like 2 other people had to help me, like they had to pull me up to get to the top. So I got up there, and he said, don't give up on yourself. But he said it like he was upset, like he really thought I gave up on myself. So, sorry, my daughter's doing a thing. So anyway,
No, you're good.
the last obstacle was a 30-foot high water slide. And I don't do water slides. I just don't. And so when I got up there, I was like frozen and could not move. Like I could not go down this water slide. It was like I was stuck. And he was like, he said, come on. And like, he got my hand, and I pulled my hand away because I thought he was going to pull me down the slide. and I wasn't ready to go. And he was like, "Come on, babe, I need you to go." And I was like, "I can't." And I'm like in tears because I can't. And he was like, "I need you to go. I need you to go for me." And I was like, "I can't." So he just like put his hand up and he just went, and he left me up there. And I finally went down. When we got to the bottom, I could tell he was upset. And when we got to the car, we didn't talk on the way to the car. When we got to the car, I asked him, "How are you feeling?" He said, "Well, it's funny you should ask me that because I'm trying to figure that out." And he's like, "I felt like you abandoned me." In his mind, I'd abandoned him because I didn't trust him that we could go down the thing together. That was in his mind.
Okay.
And I said to him, I said, "Well, you left me up there. Like, you just left me up there by myself and you just went." And I think that for him, like, he was very focused on the trust thing. And I guess he wasn't seeing what I was seeing. I mean, he apologized later and said he apologized for not giving me what I needed. But it was just weird because I thought him and I were fine. I thought we were fine. But a week later, he was like, "I'm not happy." And I was very thrown off because for me, typically when I'm in a relationship, I don't let my guard down completely. And this was the first person that I let my guard down completely. Like typically when I've dated people, I'll always keep other people's numbers in my phone just in case. I usually do that. Just because I'm like, you never know. Like, you gotta have some people on the back burner. But this was the first relationship where I cut everybody off. Like all those extra people, there was no anybody on the side just in case. And so I remember at one point I was at his house and we were in the kitchen and he was talking about a frying pan he just bought. And I was like, I made him think I was paying attention and I wasn't. And then I looked, I was like, "Oh, you bought a new frying pan?" And he was like, "We just talked about that." As soon as he said it, I broke down crying and I was like, and because in my mind, I was like, I fucked up. Like I made him think I was listening and I wasn't. And he said to me, he like reassured me that we were fine. He said, he said, "You need to trust us." He said, "I'm not going anywhere. You're it for me. I'm not looking for a way out." And for me, he made me feel that even if it happened again, we were going to be fine. And he allowed me to let my guard completely down and be vulnerable. And I'd never done that before. I'd never done that before in any relationship I'd been in. And so for me, like I said, I don't think he's a bad guy because I feel like I learned things from that relationship about myself that I didn't learn before. But I feel like now I'm almost afraid to, and I feel like this is something I need to work on for me, but I feel like I'm afraid to open myself up again. Because when he made that call and was like, "I'm not happy," I'd never had my heart broken like that ever. I'd never had my heart broken like that ever. Like I didn't eat for almost a week. Like the first couple weeks, I was just crying. I mean, I'm very thankful to God for my job because the job I had before, I had my own office, and when I had a real devastating thing, I shut myself in my office. And where I'm at working now, I couldn't shut myself in the classroom because I teach, so I couldn't tell the kids, "Miss Washington ain't teaching today. Y'all go somewhere." I couldn't do that. Like I had to. So I feel like where I'm working now actually helped me to get better faster. But I almost feel like I have a fear of opening myself up again because of what happened. So I feel like this is just something that I need to work on with me. But like I said, I don't blame him for it. I don't think he's a bad guy. I have friends and family that think he's the worst guy in the world, but I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think that, there's somebody for everybody, and he was it for me for the time he was it, and then that's it. So that is the thing is, I mean, I mean, one of the things I did love about him was that him and I would have these discussions about church and the Bible and God, and they were some of my favorite discussions because I absolutely love talking about God, talking about the Bible, talking about church, talking about people in the Bible. I love having those type of discussions with anybody. But that's the thing is, like I said, it's just that relationship for me, I feel like was very helpful for me to learn things that I need to learn about myself. And like I said, I don't blame him for what he did. I had a hard time because of the fact that he did it over the phone, which I think was just not not the right thing to do, just in general. But like he didn't care about the he had a lack of concern about the effect of what he did, which then showed me things about him that I didn't know before. I mean, and not long after we broke up, he decided to go, get in a relationship with somebody else, but that's the thing for me, I feel like I needed time. That's why I've gotten to a point where when it comes to dating, it's about enjoying the dating process and getting to know yourself in the dating process and getting to know what is for you. Because I know one day I will be married. Like people say, why do you say that? But I know it. Like, I don't know who it is. I don't know when, but I know it. There are certain things about me that I know. Like even like being a teacher, like I knew from 5 years old, I would be a teacher, and that's what I am. I knew I was going to be a mom, and I am. So when I say I know I'm going to be a wife, I know I will be. It's just I don't know who it is. I don't know when, but I remain faith. I know that it's going to happen one day. So I don't necessarily stress like I did, and I don't think of myself as a bad person. Like I said, I think every relationship you're in is meant to teach you something, and if you don't learn it, you're going to have to repeat that lesson until you learn what you were supposed to learn. So I feel like as detrimental as that was when it happened, it still taught me things that I needed to learn. So I can't be upset about that, because had I not gone through that, I wouldn't have learned what I learned. So yeah, so it's it was hard, but I'm amazing, so I can't be too mad about it.
You on the way, man.
So but I mean, like I said, I have friends that think he's the worst guy in the world, but I don't, because that's the thing is people make decisions out of what's best for them, and people don't always consider the impact that it will have. They think they do what's best for them. And in this case, he did what's best for him. So, but I feel like and that's the thing is, I feel that the person that I'm meant to marry is going to be the right person for me in every way, and is going to be so much better than he was. And so you have to look at it like, if the person that God has for me is so much better than him, then I don't want him. I want the person that God has for me, because that person is so much better. So you want better. You don't want what will happen then. You want the better. And whoever God has for me is the better. So I can't stay and stick with that, because that's not what God has for me in the long term. God had that for me in the short term, and then God's going to have someone for me in the long term. So you have to think of things like that, and know that God always puts people in your life for a reason. And sometimes putting them in your life is going to cause you hurt, but that hurt is meant to help you, not to harm you. So it's all about your mindset. And so I feel like just, throughout my years, my mindset has changed a lot from the way I used to think about things. And I have a lot more of a positive mindset than I've had in the past. So, I mean, I get thankful for everybody and everything. So, yeah.
All right, man. Thank you for sharing that story, Tammy.
All right, First Lady Tammy. All right.
Hey.
Stan, I'm gonna get to you in just a second. I gotta read this comments right quick from the Bloom Ebony. I agree. I think you'll get better mentally. You will attract better spiritually. That's a good point. Louis Lopez did say that. Well, actually, we'll go with this one. He says, when a woman ignores her man, meaning not giving your cognitive attention. It does across as an epic form of disrespect. But he also says, by the way, thank you for being honest. This is a huge step towards accountability.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's the thing is that that was one of the things is that I said to him, because we were talking about getting married. And I said to him, I said, do you feel like I'm giving you what you need? And he told me no. And I said, well, I don't want us to talk about getting married because if you get married, your wife is supposed to give you the things that you need. It's great if she can give you things you want, but she has to be able to give you the things that you need. So I started making an effort to make sure he felt he was getting what he needed. And I asked him after I was making that effort if he felt he was getting what he needed. And he said yes. So, but that's the thing is that it wasn't enough. So, and a friend of mine, when I was telling her, she said, well, how long did you think you're going to be able to keep doing that? And for me, I mean, you know, at the time I was like, you know, I was going to do it as much as I needed to. If that's what he needed, that's what I was going to do. But sometimes, even though you give that person what they think they need, that may not be what they think they need. They may need something else. So it's about that person learning themselves as well as me learning myself. So.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Welcome to DJ Eddie King and Mr. Best in the World.
AKA Mr. Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
You know what I mean? We sorry we late. You know what I'm saying? We sorry we late. You know what I'm saying? DJ Eddie, you know what I mean? DJ Eddie was moving through traffic. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know, he had to move through the traffic. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You know, traffic is crazy right now. The kids going back to school and all that. You know what I mean? He had to move through. I had to do my networking. I was networking real quick, but we here.
We are here.
So just to let you guys know, because I know you guys are new, right? These are the brothers, including Miss Tammy, right? Are the ones who put in the work for knowledge and relationships.
That's right.
About the beats, the amazing music from DJ Eddie King.
Yes, sir.
And the fabulous network management from, for now, Mr. Best in the World.
That's right.
Knows that's Mr. Hall of Fame. And, you know, we got our professional questionnaire. That's why, you know, we got to bring a teacher in the building, you know? I mean, why have one? We could have two, right? But anyways, we do have First Lady Tammy, as always. That helps provide good structure in there, right? And then, last but not least, without all you guys in the chat and in the panel as well, too, you know, we wouldn't be knowledge relationships without y'all. You guys makes us great. And you guys continue to push us to be inspired and keep putting the work in. We're doing it for y'all.
The Fantastic Four, baby.
Yes.
Real Fantastic Four.
E Black, what's going on? E Black?
E Black, my guy.
What's going on, my guy?
E Black, you looking new, man. You looking shiny. What's going on over there, man?
I've been putting that Neutrogena, man.
He jumped out of the time chamber, man.
Right.
And shout out to the homie
I've been
BK
doing that
Apology.
shea butter, man. You know,
BK Apology, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Here, chilling. What's good?
Yeah.
And we also have a new guest as well. And we also have a new. I'm sorry. Go ahead, DJ.
What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, bro? Nice to meet you, man.
I'm all right.
Yeah, what's going on, brother? Stan the man. What's going on, Stan the man? Yeah.
Stan the man.
Yeah. You know he's muted, but Stan has a lot to say about this number 6 question.
Go ahead, Stan.
Now, man, oh gosh, I know this is gonna be it's gonna be something, right, Stan? I know you've been bracing yourself for this, right? So we're gonna get to the number 6 before I get to number 7.
That's
also, just to let you know, again, shout outs to Big Guy Journey, because he did donate to the live stream as well too. So
thank
just
you,
let you know, man.
Shout out.
Give him a solution, you know.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you guys. Thank you. All right, Stan. Number 6. You got to unmute yourself, bro. You're still on mute.
There you go.
Wait, now you mute yourself again. Hold on, unmute. All you gotta do is press it once. Hold on, let me see. There you go. There you go.
Okay. All right, cool. What's up, everybody? So I had to make sure I did a diaphragm of this.
Wait, hold on. Let me zoom in on this. Hold on. Diagram of what? Oh,
Okay.
man. This boy brought down like a game plan, a list and all that, huh? All right, let's go.
All right. To answer the question, I was booked dating in church. I was like 4 to 6 months out dating 2 or 3 times a week. And some of the dates I wasn't even there. So if you count those dates, I was like busy. And there's like 2 things. They're like dating just to get to know somebody. And then they're like dating. No, you go on dates to encourage and get to know other single women in church. Because outside of that, you really don't mingle. Mm-hmm. And then there was like dating, which I didn't know till I got myself involved with one young lady. You date towards marriage, which to me was kind of backwards, because after you've gone out with somebody, you really don't know who they are. So you need to like spend time on one-on-one to get to know them. And since it didn't lead into marriage, it was just crazy for me after that. And I was like the new guy. And I had to stand up for myself a lot, because I'm like, man, if you guys done this to me, like this is like how many times she's been in this church, like how many brothers did she date? Like then, why you guys coming after me? Like I just got baptized. So what's all this hoopla that's going on that goes on in this church for this type of stuff? It was like kept a secret, because when you use that word date means that you're now dating this girl to go to get married, and that wasn't clear to me at all. That was not the expectations.
So basically, they had dating with a purpose for you. Yeah, you're gonna date all right, but under the fine print of the contract, you're gonna get married.
Yeah, and that's the part I didn't like, because like nobody was clear. Everybody like, well, in the kingdom, blah blah blah. I'm like, well, if I'm going out in all these dates, you only getting the person best foot forward. Because it was like kind of religious. Like you have to go on a Saturday, it's a Saturday night. Everybody get dressed, do all this stuff. And, it's like a bunch of things that goes on, but you really don't get to know the person. Now, when I'm getting to know her, and I'm still calling it dating, because, you're just a girlfriend, I had to put some boundaries. And there are a lot of boundaries that I was getting crossed. And, I'm not new. So I've already gone through a couple of long-term relationships before I came to church, on and off. So there were things I was getting crossed. And I'm like, well, you're not a wife. My other girlfriends didn't do that type of stuff. Where you're crossing boundaries that's like very clear, like it's not okay for you to step over it. You're sending people over to me to get to change my mind and control my mindset, which wasn't going to happen, because there were some things that was like out of pocket, and it was just disorder. I'm not your child. I'm a grown man. Do not baby boy me. Ooh. It's just not. I don't need to be at your place. I have my own job. I don't need your money. I don't need your car. I have my own car. Like, be a girlfriend. That's what you're supposed to be. Be a girlfriend first. And then if I have any needs later on, if we're a fiance or getting married, and we're married, then yeah. But other than that, you're just a girlfriend. You don't need to go in that space. It's not okay. The challenge that came up a lot was she was trying to be the man in the relationship. And we got into a lot of fights about that, because I had to let her know, like, hey, like, I don't date men. Like, what is this? Like, why are you trying to bully me and manhandle me? Like, I'm not a woman. Like, what are you doing? Like, do I need to know something? Like,
can you give us like a few examples of certain traits of masculinity in a woman?
She was it was like, okay, I can tell, and also like what the church has done too is like, you're bullying the men and you're not letting men be men unless it's something that you want to show men to be men, so you can show off. A lot of times I feel like I was like, that movie Legally Blonde, Remember that movie? And she had a little chihuahua in her purse. That's what I felt like a lot of times. I was something to show off.
Was she very active in the church? Like on some
Too
boards?
active.
Too
active.
Yeah.
Too active.
I can see what's going on.
Too active, right? And then she'll send people. One time she set us up to meet this couple who they used to fight all the time. And she said, yeah, that's us. We could get married and we'll fight all the time. I'm like,
nope.
I have never had to fight like that. It's always, for me, discussions leading to understanding. You don't control me. I don't do things. I don't cheat. I don't do all this crazy stuff, right? But we do have some understandings. If I need to eat rice and with some steak every once in a while, that's my culture. That's what I'm going to do. Do not sit down and give me something else that I don't want, nor that I ask for. Again, I'm not your child. You don't come in and try to control every aspect of my life. It's not okay.
She's like, boy, you want to eat this cereal?
Yeah, that's how she act. And she was a single mom. Like, go handle that part.
You gonna eat these Jesus O's.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, go handle that part. Like, you have a child. Like, go get a child, go get a cat, and go get a dog. If you want to train and want to do all this stuff, there's things for you to do that. But not for me. And also with her too, she wasn't the same girl I was interested in. And she told me that. She act like that person to get my attention. And the crazy part about that, go ahead.
Wait. So she told you that, so she literally told you that she acts in a certain way to grab people's attention? Like
she became someone else to grab my attention. She became the person that I was attracted to, but that's not who she was. So basically, she deceived and lied. That was number one. And she admitted to it, right? Also, when she didn't. Also, the women in church knew, and they supported it. And I'm like, you know, if this was on the other side, if I lied and deceived and got into a relationship with a girl, you know how many times they'd have broke that relationship up in church?
Yep. Now, Stan, let me ask you a question. Why do you think that they allowed this behavior from her?
Because they want her to get married and spoon her off with somebody else as a problem.
Or maybe you want to see more black couples get married, even if they're dysfunctional.
I don't think, no, they just want her to get married and just wanted her to be off in the World Wide Web and just disappear it off. That's it. Because, you know, if there's a single mom getting married, that's more single moms coming in, and you get yourself a husband, and you know, with the church that go ahead and get single moms married.
Oh yeah, bring in more revenue. That's a good point.
Right? Because I got told the reason I got baptized was y'all put me in therapy was because I was attractive. I'm like, what kind of pimp gay boy stuff is this?
Wow. Wait.
I ain't come here to be a poster boy and to be treated like some like you up here prostituting me at church.
Stop the show. Wait. So a brother told you that they brought you into a church because they thought you was attractive?
Yeah. Like that's what I got told. You got baptized in church because you're attractive. If you think about it, after me, there was like no brother actually got in that front. If you think about the professionals, I think I was the one that got baptized in church in front of a bunch of people. There was no one after me that did that as a guy. They kind of much did people like on Sundays or whatever, on Saturdays, and show a picture. I didn't know because I'm instantly going in because the only thing I just wanted was, I said the good part about the church was, man, like they taught me the Bible, going to Bible studies, I get to know by myself. And that was it. I'm going in I'm happy. Like, you know, God is real for the first time in my life. And I'm just there like meeting people. I'm like, man, come to my church. We got you. What time when we pick you up? You know, and you know, I'm like dating, going like encourage sisters. I'm like going on dates 3 times a week, just bringing in people, getting people to date. Like, why you ain't dating? Why you up here like watching these movies? Come on, take the sister out. Like, I'm just doing all this crazy stuff, right? Because I really care and I'm grateful. And you know, if you come from a background I'm like, not the streets, but like, man, when stuff is hard and people don't care and you're left alone, and it's like you come from darkness and you like shown the light, you get happy and you just, you know, and that's where I was at. But to be told later, my purpose was to inspire, and I probably won't date again because now that this person had gotten married, the other person got married, that I'm like, I bring in the money for single women. And I'm like, man, you guys got me escorting for Jesus. Where's my cut? Where's my cut? Where's my cut?
Now, Stan, did they call you a sharp brother? Did they use that terminology?
No, it's always like, don't be a worm. No, don't be a worm. You got responsibilities as a leader. They ain't talking about being sharp. I mean, because it's like it was like early in the show I pointed out, like I'm always giving the scriptures about me being a slave, that I need to give out more because I was in darkness and I'm a slave. I need to be a slave to God, and I need to stop being selfish, and I need to keep on giving.
Oh boy.
And that's what I was getting. And so like, understand, I'm getting that like 5 times a week. It didn't help that you're in a Christian household, so you're getting that like every day. So like, I'm getting this type of stuff. I'm not getting the encouragement that everybody else is getting because I'm not white. I'm black. And it's like, I need to keep on giving. I'm being compared to a slave. That's what I'm getting. Or I'm a worm. You know, I need to focus on the sisters in this church, not focus on sisters in other churches. Because I left our church alone, like Alameda Church, like Oakland, I left. I was out. Like I was on the weekends, you couldn't find me because I'm like over here, over there. I mean, different women from different churches that's still connected to us. And I'm getting other people married and other people meeting other different girls and meeting different guys. I'm making these connections minus, and I stopped being the leader and like leadership in the title because the leaders weren't really mingling around the people that needed the help, which was the single ministry. So they needed that help. So even after I broke up, because somebody talked about like how you take care of somebody, you protect somebody after you broken up, when you broke them up, or you broke up with a girlfriend, right? The mature part, like she was worried about she wasn't going to get married. And I told her like, yeah, you'd be married before me. And I talked to a couple other guys like, hey, just take her out. Now, mind you, this woman had said all these terrible things about me. And like people were like, you know, just mad at me. You'll think we had sex, which we didn't do. You'll think I took money from her, which I never did. I never took her car. I never treated her daughter with disrespect, although she didn't acknowledge my daughter till after we broke up. Talk about that part. You know, like she did all this stuff. And I went ahead and I'm like, hey, she went to her friend's wedding. And I knew she's gonna be by herself. So I asked people who was going to the wedding, like, hey, can you make sure she get a dance in? Hey, she's about to go this place, it's gonna be hard. Make sure you take her out. Now, mind you, I'm getting so much hate. I'm still the baby Christian, still doing right. So when it comes to church, again, like when I got done, I told people in that church, I will never date here because you guys lack maturity. You guys have showed your ass, and I'm good. You lack maturity, it will never happen again. Mind your business. Now, I continue to keep on going on dates, but I knew for me, I will never date any woman from that church. I used to call it the witchcraft church, and that's what, because you have to manipulate men, you abuse men, and I'm just like, you guys do a whole bunch of stuff here. I will never date a woman here, period, point blank. And also, I'll say this church was also racist, right? Because you only target me towards Black women or like the women that you want me to take care of, but you made sure I ain't touch the white women. Because some of the white brothers were terrified and scared. Like, here goes Magnificent, Holy Mandingo about to come to this church. They not white girls. I'm like, I don't date white women like that. So why are you scared and terrified? One brother hooked me up with a white girl from that California connection. I get a lecture. I'm like, what kind of stuff is this? She's not even from here. She's from LA. We had a good time. It was a blind date. Why are you scared and terrified that I was dating a white girl? Are we all brothers and sisters in Christ?
Yeah.
Okay. Why are you upset and mad?
Yo, this is lit. I'm sorry, yo.
Oh, because I bring in the money. I forgot. I bring the money for Oakland. Now that Chris Brown has gotten married to a white girl, we can have another brother in church get married to a white girl.
Wait, he got married to a white girl?
Yeah, the woman that he brought into church was white, and she's a good woman. Not gonna knock that out, but can you imagine, right? That here's a guy in church that a lot of women sought after, and they really sought after him, and that's it, right? But he wasn't interested in anybody in our church. The woman he brought in was a woman that he was already dating outside the church, got her baptized, and she's white, but she's a good woman. Like she's really a good woman. But the thing about her, like she got baptized, she dated, and she got married real quick. So of course there's gonna be jealousy, and they're gonna be mad, right? So here I am, I'm going on a blind date, and it's California connection. So you meeting so many different people. And when I go on dates, a lot of people will tell you, like, I don't want to see pictures. I don't even have conversations, because when I meet you, I just want to meet you and just have a good time. So I'm not trying to have an image of you in my mind or anything like that. And then we meet up. She turns out to be white, and I had a good time. And then we went to the party, which is up the street, just in San Francisco. And I explained to people, like, hey, can we get a dance? I'm like, no, I'm here with my date. And like, there was silence. And then the next time they have something called discipleship time, or what do they call that stuff when you meet up with somebody who wants to meet? D-time, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like, we don't want you to fall back and when you were sitting and, you're watching porn. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, you're not even dating a black girl. You're married to somebody that's not black. What kind of porn are you watching, sir?
They try to black.
Are you watching The Onions? Like, do you want to talk about the Onion series? Like, you want to talk about that? West Coast Productions? Like, you want to go there, sir? A lot of these brothers in this church up here married to non-black women. Like, you guys want to talk about that? Like, don't be coming after me. None of y'all married to a black woman. None of y'all. None of y'all married to a black woman. I'm on a blind date. This is California Connection. This is for singles ministry. I did not set this date on myself. Now, I was respectful to the girl. I don't do long distance relationships. That's not it. I didn't try to continue anything, but I was grateful. I was her the next day because we all had to meet up at Shoreline and Monterey on Sunday. I saw her say hi. People have been spying on me. Like, what's up with y'all? Like, I didn't cancel my date with you. I still took y'all next week. Like,
They had the binoculars ready.
Oh yeah, they spying. Like, oh, you meeting a white girl? Like, she from LA. I don't do long distance relationship. That's not me. And also the sad part about it, they encourage the women to leave the church and to travel out, but for the guys, we can't leave. So if I was interested in going to a single ministry, I think there was one in Illinois. I think it was in Chicago. They raised such a big stink about it, like, oh, there's women here. And I'm like, yeah, but I already went through all of them here. And they're like, well, that's worldly that you said that. I'm like, it's also worldly if I go ahead and I'll find a wife, get her baptized, and bring her and just tell people I'm married. How about that? That already happened. Huh?
Do you believe they were jealous of you?
There is no sense of being jealous because I didn't date for glory. Like, I never date the same woman twice because I was like, I'm going out and I'm dating so many different women. I introduced the women to the other guys because there was something going on that a lot of guys were not dating and not going out on dates. So my character, and like a lot of people contested this, like I was busy getting other guys involved into the dating world. Like, come on, let's go on dates. Take this girl out, take that one. And also helped out with the single dads because I was part of that ministry. I did the single dad ministry where the single dads got a chance to meet other single women or single moms. And I think there was 2 women in the single moms ministry and the single dads ministry that got married. And it was good that one brother in church continued to take that ministry on when I left with the singles dad. So it's like the work is still there that I've done and it's been fruitful. And I left church, right? And it's still fruitful because I saw the need and I just like made sure that other people were taken care of. Now, was I taken care of? No. Right? No. But I take care of myself and I step out and leave, right? Because, you know, I'm not getting paid. You getting paid. You the minister. And you killed the single ministry. And they went and transfer you out and you still killed the single ministry. All of y'all killed the single ministry. Used it. You got yourself married. You only think about yourself. And yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. Now, will I ever go back to a church? No, not like that ever again. And luckily, I had one friend of mine. He's a minister that I do trust. He's not from our church at all. He's out here, and you know, he talked to me about that. He's like, "Yeah, man, like it's because I don't see myself as like I think I see myself as a cute. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give myself probably a 4 or 5, right? On a good day, probably a 5. I'm just like cute. Because I like to laugh. I'm goofy. I'm not trying to be suave or nothing like that. But he said, like, yeah, like if you're coming in, you have a job, you have a house, you live alone, you pay rent, you have a car. Like, yeah, man, you can sell stuff here. At any church you come in, women are going to be drawn like, okay, how much brothers can we get more brothers like this? Is money. And it's like, yeah, man, like if a church could go ahead and string you along long enough until you have a second guy to come in after me, that's probably like a little bit, you know, brings in the same value, then yeah, get this guy married real quick because we got another one coming in. It's profit.
Yeah.
And I found out something too. I had a roommate who was I had a friend of mine, recently was single, older gentleman. He just stayed in my house for a couple of days. And he told me he was getting paid by the women in church to go on dates. And I'm just like, again, where's my cut?
Wait, he was getting paid by the women? The women was paying him to go on dates with them?
They're paying him.
Casanova. Okay.
I'm up here escorting for Jesus.
Is this real? They were paying him? They were paying him?
I'm like, hey, well, yo, where my money back, man? Because
you got the sound, the oh my God sound effect. Did you get it?
Yeah, they were really paying him for real?
Yeah, hold on. Let me.
Yeah, he told me, he's like, he's got paid. And I'm like, man, I need to date the older sisters. Y'all talking about mature sisters got money. I'm like, man,
wait, so you
these Christian cougars, where they at?
Wow.
Yeah.
But I wasn't hating on them because I was like, I didn't know this stuff was happening. But I was like, wow, like, you know, it takes a lot. It's sad because, you know, everybody's there is great. And the thing about like when you go on dates, it's a good thing just to go on dates. And it's good to spend time. The only thing I didn't like was the mechanics of dates where the women didn't want you to leave. Like if I pick a location, trust and believe, I think it all through. Now, if you want to do something else, let me know. But to manipulate or to act like you have a headache because you don't want to be really clear in talking, it's to me, I'm like, hey, you can just tell me, what do you want? Like, what do you want to do? Because a lot of times they just want to eat and talk. Like, I've already done that with you 3 times. It's kind of boring. I don't want a lunch buddy. Like, I want to do an activity. Like, can we go out and hang out? And I don't think a lot of times women in church, if you have an active singles ministry where they're dating, you don't know, like, outside here in this world, these women out here in the world, they make a date out of anything and everything. And, you know, like, hey, let's go to the farmer's market. That's a date. Let's go ahead and take a walk and just go ahead and have a lunch. That's a date. And you know, they really, once I experience that again, you're not going to get me to come back to a church and do these little 1950 Disney dates. Like, I'm not doing that stuff. Like, I experience some really good dating practices right now, and I cannot go back to that stale, dry stuff. It's not going to happen. Now, what we're not going to do on the show is talk about sex. That's another topic. But
Hey, look, hey, talk about it all. Expose it
I
all.
feel like question about to come in, but we won't
I'm
do that.
scared. I am so scared of the next.
Expose it all. Expose it all.
Ooh, who said that?
That's could be a different topic, right?
Yes, that's a different topic. Yeah, but I will say this: I don't believe in celibacy. That's where I'm at now.
Well, good for you, Stan. Hey, man, you know, we're going to give you like a round of applause, man.
That's
Hey,
right.
thank you, Stan, man, for, damn, man, you got a hell of a story, man. You went through some shit. But, yeah, thank you, man.
I see
Word.
E Black. E Black, you okay?
No, he's
He
not
black.
okay, man. He
He
ain't
black
never
is
going to be the
shocked.
same
Yeah.
again.
Understand? Thank you for sharing that. And whatever you want to share, brother, whatever you want to share about your journey, please share with us.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that was
Hey,
lit.
if you want
That was lit.
to name drop if you want to. We don't care.
No. The only thing I don't believe in
We
the.
ain't gonna name drop because, you
No,
know,
I
the
don't
only
care.
reason I don't want to.
you know.
Yeah, I don't want to do that because the thing about it is like it's a part of the healing and the process is I don't want to give that person power and drop their name and then still feel hurt
Yeah,
like that. Right?
they're not relevant people, you know.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
also that person
you
moved
all know
on
that.
because I made sure I took care of that person, and that person did get married, right? I
That's
don't know
true.
what happened, and I don't care because that's not my responsibility. You got married, let him take care of you. I'm finished.
Yeah, he's living,
So,
you know, miserable with his life. But let's get
yes,
to number 7 question, Stan. Thank you so much.
no problem.
All right, you guys. I know you guys haven't had much like to speak, especially you, DJ Eddie King, and then Queen, you just got to be in the building too. But the number 7 question I'm gonna have to ask you guys is this: do you feel that the pastor should be held to a higher standard? Why or why not? And we're gonna start with DJ Eddie King.
Oh no. It's not on me. We could go to BK.
Okay,
He was here before me. So go ahead,
so
BK.
Queen, go ahead and answer this question.
You said me?
Yep.
Oh, hey guys.
Hey, Queen.
Well, I think pastors, if they follow the Bible, they are held to a higher standard. But I think what happens is that, you know, people forget that, you know, they're not above reproach, and people get afraid because they don't want to be labeled or, you know, bullied. So they don't say anything. But yeah, I think the Bible calls them to a higher standard, but I think more people need to speak up on BS when they see it and use the Bible, because we're all supposed to be, you know, teachable. We're all supposed to be quote unquote disciples. So we all have the Bible, so we all can teach and admonish one another. So I think people just need to stop being punks. Jesus wasn't a punk, so that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right.
I didn't have a problem doing that, so
That's
I got
right.
labeled real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you
Yeah.
did.
All right.
Right.
Let's see. Let me see. Okay, BK apologist, you want to speak
Sure.
about the number 7?
Yeah, James 3, verse 1. Not many of you should become teachers, my brothers, for you know that we who teach will be judged with greater strictness. So yes, according to the scriptures, you should be, looked at more harsher than anyone else if you're claiming to be a leader of any sort in the church. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. And then Mr. Best in the World, what you think about number 7? Oh, Mr. Best in the World? Oh, guess he stepped out. Okay.
You talking to Mr. Hall of Fame?
Yeah, from knows Mr. Hall of Fame, but I think he he changed his name recently, but okay.
He
We'll
changed
get
his name
to
again.
yeah, he did. My sister's keeper says come through with the scripture then. Okay.
Oh.
E Black, what you think about number 7?
I'm sorry. I'm gonna just say it, but yeah, of course. You know, whenever you're in a leadership position, you're held to a higher standard. But are you held to a higher morality, or are you held to higher judgment? I don't think so. I think we all are equal in that same sense. But in terms of standard, yeah, you know, you have to be leading the flock by example, first of all. Um, Even if you fall, you have to learn how to repent and have accountability. So I think definitely, you know, they are going to be held to a higher standard in terms of their Christianity faith. But we all still are going to be judged equally. So I don't, I think when you say higher standard, I think it's one way to say, should they be doing everything that's right by their own convictions? And I think that's what the question is implying. So yeah, so they should be doing everything that they should have. They should be walking the walk, showing how it works, showing the miracles, showing the blessings, doing the tithing, showing, you know, practicing your faith as an example first of all, and then you know, you will not. But like I said, even if you fall short, you shouldn't be judged just as harshly as much as the next person to the right, because we're all going to be judged equally. So that's my little short thing on that.
Just so I'm clear, to clarify what I'm saying, I'm not saying that because we judge them differently that they're superior. They're not. We're all sinners. But even though sin is sin, depending on who you are, your sin might have a different consequence, right? If I'm just a regular rank and file member of the church and I sin, there's going to be a certain effect to the church. But if you're leading the church and you're in sin, and it could be the same sin I committed, but because you're in the front and everybody's watching you, your sin might have a different consequence. Same sin though, same sin, just different consequence. That's all.
Yeah, no, I get you though. Not that we're saying that the pastor's above anyone, but
right.
You know, you do have a greater responsibility because now you're assigned the role to help not just teach one or two people, but you're teaching the whole congregation. So I get what you're saying.
Cool.
I think just to add a little bit, and I think if you look at the story of Moses, how he suffered a consequence that even the children that were in the valley with the tablets, or not the tablets, but with the ideology statues, they were ultimately sinning, you know. And then you had Moses, who probably did maybe one sin, but his consequence, like BK is saying, is vastly different from those who, you know, were dancing around idols and not giving up tithes. Or I don't want to say tithes because it wasn't tithes back then. It was something else. Tribute. So you know, I think just like what BK was saying, is just, you know, there is a different consequence based on your calling and based on what God has positioned you, and you have to listen to God and follow His lead, because He's gonna have a specific punishment for you. And that's kind of what I'm trying to say, is that our judgments are equal, but our consequences may be different. I love the way you put that, BK.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. Let me see. What did I not get? Like, Quinn, did I get to you on numbers? No, I got to you on number 7, right? Just want to make sure. Let's see. Okay, First Lady Tammy, are you here? What's your thoughts on number 7?
Go over there. Go. Bye. Go. Go. Y'all, little girl's killing me right now. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
Oh, no problem.
We're gonna judge Tammy now.
Okay.
Judgment Tammy.
Okay, so I do. So what I will say is, I do feel when you have a certain position, you need to be held to a certain higher standard. And I think we've done a topic about church before where I talked about a church where there was a pastor who was having sex with women in the church, and it was a continuous thing he was doing. So it wasn't like a first time thing. It was a continuous over and over repeated thing. And he continued to pastor the church, and he's still pastoring that same church even now. So I mean, I've heard people say, oh, well, he's a man like any man. I mean, he's a man, but is a man in a certain position. So just like you would hold a principal to a certain standard because of the position he's in, a pastor should be held to a certain standard because of the position he's in. And if you don't understand that, you shouldn't be in that position in the first place. You have to look at that. You have people that come into church that have never been to church, and they're looking for that help. They're looking for that faith. They're looking for that hope. And they're expecting you to be the person that they can come to for that, because they may not necessarily know anything about church. So when they see you doing things that you say one thing and you do another, you're causing them to be confused when you shouldn't be causing them to be confused. You're supposed to be helping them to understand more, not understand less. And so I feel like, if you feel like you can't hold yourself to the standard that you need to, then maybe you need to rethink the position that you're in, because it's not for everybody. That's why everybody doesn't do it. And the sad thing is that some people get in that position and they abuse it and don't really take care of it like they need to. So I think that, you have to, when you're in a certain position, you always have to reevaluate why you're there in the first place. And are you doing everything you're supposed to be doing while you're there? Because I think if people did that and were honest with themselves, then some people wouldn't be in the position that they're in. So I definitely think they should be held to a higher standard. And they need to be held accountable. I think they need to be held accountable, and some of them are not. Like, Queen says, some people, are afraid to speak up, and that's the problem. So I do think they definitely should be held to a higher standard. Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Tammy. And Stan, last but not least.
All right, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to give an example of David, number one, after God's own heart. David sinned, right? But he still repented. He asked for forgiveness and he repented. Also, when you look at leadership, before David, there was King Saul who didn't repent, and then God just kicked him out. So leadership does not mean that you'll be a leader forever. So it doesn't protect you from all the sins that you're doing. I'll leave it at that. I mean, it's just a job. Like, if you're not good at being a leader, then you have to be fired. You'll be okay. Do something else.
Yeah.
Let me answer that question. Let me answer that question real quick.
Oh, welcome back, best in the world. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. I ain't never leave. I've been here, but yeah, I'm saying, I stepped away for a quick moment, yeah, definitely, they absolutely are responsible. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? They want that check. You know what I mean? They're not gonna go out there and get that job. They're not. They definitely want that money. So, it's biblical that they are held to a different standard. And if you're gonna step in leadership, you gotta understand that. You know what I mean? And if you don't, then we have a hard time. And listen, Hall of Fame is gone, everybody. All right? It's best in the world. He's here. Hall of Fame may come back one day, but for right now, it's best in the world. But he may be back one day, maybe.
No, you need that comeback.
He might come back.
Yeah. Man. Thanks for sharing, everyone. And I'll read the final comment. And Big Guy Jordan says, "For the name of God is blasphemy among the Gentiles through you, as it is written." Okay. That's what's up, man. Well, everyone, feel free to shout out like your social medias. I'll get to you guys one by one. Thank you guys for participating on the panel to talk about this topic. I think it was well needed, especially about church. And even though some may not find closure, but I do pray that we all could find closure in the things that we were traumatized in. But without further ado, let me go ahead and start from Let me start with E Black TV with the 4K quality,
My
man.
guy.
With the Neutrogena face on, man. I'm telling you, man, got that soul glow.
I'm trying to keep it moist. Pause.
Go ahead and show your channel, E Black.
Yeah, man. I got a YouTube channel. It's called E Black TV. I also got my website up. If you want to go check it out, it's www.eblack.tv. So if you want to check that out, that's a list of all my blogs and whatnot. I also just posted a blog, my first content of blog content. So this is my first editing that I've been able to do. So if you want to check that out, it's with my daughter. She's the co-star, I should say. She's the star of the show, and I just co-starred in a video with her. So we did a response to a box opening from a interview that I had with John Williams of TF Basement. He sent my daughter some toys, and we did a box opening of that. So it's a little blog of that, which was cool. I finally got the jitters off of that. So, but either way, check me out, E Black TV on most platforms, on all platforms, 82. And thanks for inviting me again.
All right, no problem. Thank you. We're going ahead and then switch over to BK Apologist.
Yeah, what's going on, part of people, the place to be. I am BK Apologist. I am an urban apologist. I teach and defend the gospel via the urban landscape. You can catch me on these YouTube streets under BK Apologist. Hopefully, I'll see you. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend that it's him again. And thank you for allowing me this opportunity to plug my platform. Peace.
Okay. Stan the man with the plan.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Stanley Joseph, and you can find me on Instagram, Stan Transformation. And that's Stan Transformation.
All right. Follow him on his IG, Stan Transformation, y'all. Okay. And then we'll get to Queen Forever 2K21.
Hi, you can follow me on Instagram at Queen Forever 2K21. You can see me on the Knowledge and Relationship platform. I pop in, I pop out, get my 2 cents, and that's about it. And you can see me on the Lady Streams on Saturday night.
All right, thank you. And last but not least, we're gonna go down to the best in the world.
Oh, First Lady Tammy.
Oh, my bad. Oops. My bad, Tammy.
Hold on a second. You can tell me. Hold on.
What you saying that, girl?
No. Tammy's going to be CKQ Tammy.
Hold on.
I know it was a major fail.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Hold on. I'm gonna. Okay, ready?
Yeah. When I download that, I'm going to add that to the sound. Woo!
Okay, no. I had a really great time. Once again, I always enjoy when I get to come on here and give my feedback about the topic. So I am here on Mondays and Thursdays. I come and give my lovely perspective. I'm here hosting the Lady Stream on Saturdays for Ladies Night. I'm doing my Cryo Slim journey on knowledge and relationships. And Instagram also. First Lady Tammy 916. Come check me out. And also make sure you hit the thumbs up to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to Knowledge and Relationships so you don't miss anything that we do. And might I add that my hair looks very nice. So
I see your lovely hair, Tammy. Tammy with the good hair. Go get it, girl. All right. And then we got Mr. Best in the World.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Listen, thank you so much for being part of Knowledge and Relationship Experience. We truly appreciate everybody who's been on the panel. Shout out to E Black TV, my guy. Shout out to BK Apologist, the mentor, the big bro. What's going on? Brooklyn in the house, you know how we do. Shout out to Queen Forever 2K21 to 2K22 get here. Shout out to First Lady Tammy, DJ Eddie. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? The great man with the band, the big man, M3. You know what I'm saying? I am the co-network manager for Knowledge and Relationships. You can find me at MR Hall of Fame Forever 23 on Instagram. You know what I mean? Find me there. And definitely, have any inquiries, any questions, or anything about the Knowledge and Relationship platform, please contact me directly, okay? Thank you. You know, and definitely, I got to give a huge shout out to Stan, the man. You know what I mean? Thank you, Stan, for coming on, sharing your experience, sharing your love, being vulnerable, and doing it all with humility, man. We definitely appreciate you. So, yes, thank y'all for tuning in to Knowledge and Relationships. We'll be back. We'll be back real soon. All right, good night, y'all.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Knowledge and Relationships. Y'all already know me by now. It's your boy M3. Now, before I even begin, right, let me read these two comments from Big Guy Journey. This is a response to this is a question to E Black. What's a good camera to get? Y'all setups look good. Come on, E Black. You gotta tell him, man. What's the camera, man? We know you got like a 4 or 5K quality camera going on. Don't
Man,
try to pixelate it now.
Okay, first what you got to do is you got to subscribe to eBlack TV, right? Secondly,
Word.
Yeah. Secondly, what you got to do is get you. I mean, they have tons of cameras, DSLRs. What matters most is the lens. So research good lenses that will give you this kind of fuzzy background stuff that you got. But like I said, I'm doing a M50 Canon Mark II, and I'm also using an f1.4 low lens. So, you know, it may work for you in your setup, but like I said, do your research because you can go high end, but this is relatively inexpensive in terms of what I got. So.
You might have to type that down in the comments or the chat somehow, E Black.
Man,
so,
my mouse ain't working, man. Y'all see me struggling, man.
Yeah, but the computer, I know you got the struggle mouse though, but what about the keyboard? You ain't got the struggle keyboard, right?
I would have to tab so many times just to get over to
Man, you better get to tapping, bro. You know?
Oh, man. But easy. Hey, look, I'll put a video out, man. Like I said, just because I've been wanting to get a video out about lighting and dark skin.
Okay, for sure, man. Thank you, man, E Black, for tuning in. We appreciate you guys, and yeah, man. And to answer the question, what's my camera? My camera is a I think it's pronounced like Logi, Logi, and it's like an HD, like a 1080p camera.
You got a Logitech, bro. You got a Logitech. Logi short for Logitech.
Oh, Logitech. All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. So yeah, it's a Logitech. But yeah, and he says I'm subscribing to all y'all's I can find. Oh yeah, if you want to subscribe to like the YouTube channels, like from my friends as well, just go under the description. You should definitely see like a lot of clickable links, and then you should see like the links to like our IGs as well too, though. So thank you again, Big Guy Journey, for tuning in, and then hopefully we'll see you like on Thursday. Now I got one last question, right? One last comment. Now this is a long one, so let me see. So from Rocio, she says, and I will keep doing what I am doing in order to cut the ground from those who want an opportunity to be considered equal with us in the things they boast about. Verse 13. Hold on, what's the source of it? Because you didn't put the book of it, but okay. For such people are false apostles, deceitful workers, let me see, masquerading as prophets of Christ. Verse 14, and no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. It is not surprising then, if his servants also masquerade as servants of righteousness, their end will be what their actions deserve. Oh boy, that's like the longest like paragraph, man, that I'm reading. But thank you. Big shout outs to Rocio for tuning in. Thank you so much. And Kashim says, thank you, Big Guy Journey, for subscribing to hashtag knowledge and relationships with the heart. So thank you guys again. So I do want to give more shout outs because there was more people on the panel. Man, hold on. Bear with me real quick. If I could pull it up. Shout outs to Kris, the Bloom, and Ebony. Shout outs to, there was somebody else that came on here too. Oh, shout outs to my dad, Frank Marion. He came on there for a little bit. Shout outs to Louis Lopez. Let's see. Shout outs to London Price. Man, let's see. Shout outs to Steve. Well, no, not Steve, but Stevie Pierce. Okay. Who else, man? Let's see. Shout outs to my sister's keeper. Shout outs to Queen Dawn. Man, there's so many people. Shout out. I mean, definitely shout outs to Mrs. M3, of course, my wife. What else? Who else? Shout outs. And shout outs to everybody else that came into the panel. So, and here we go. That's what I'm talking about. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 12 to 15. So definitely big shout outs to Rocio for that. And tune in next time for another episode of Knowledge and Relationships Empty TV shows. So see you Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And also keep in mind, we also have our Ladies Night live stream Saturday nights, still the same time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And then with that, we are out, everybody. So everybody enjoy yourselves. Make sure before anything else, before you hop onto the live streams, religion, politics, and all this other crap, make sure everybody get their minds right. As always. And we are out. Later, everyone. Am I one that's going to say bye or just like that's it? Everybody like in silence? I see.
Later.
Peace.